being a okay. No, this is okay. May I ask the honorable the honorable the honorable the honorable the, the honorable rest, please take your seats. Good afternoon to our members, invited resource persons, guests, our audience here in the House of Representatives, and those following our proceeding at the Facebook page of the House. Welcome again to our meeting. The committee will resume today the hearing of House Resolutions number 230 and 1428 on the question acts of the Sunshine Media Network International SMNI, peddling fake news, baseless red tagging of individuals, groups, and organizations, and acts subject to various complaints against the media network filed and pending before the NTC, MTRCB, and the Kapisanan ng Broadcasters ng Pilipinas. We also consider the issues raised in the privileged speech of the Honorable David J.J. Suarez on the basis report of SMNI regarding the travel expense of the House Speaker, Ferdinand Martin Romualdez. Yesterday, the plenary acted on House Resolution number 1499 and authorized the Committee on Legislative Franchise to consider it in today's hearing. The members will be provided a copy of House Resolution number 1499. The SMNI is operating under the franchise agreement of Suara Sug Media Corporation pursuant to Republic Act 11422, approved on August 22, 2019, with a term of 25 years. The proponents asserted that SMNI violated the terms and conditions of the franchise and called for the Committee on Legislative Franchises to exercise its oversight function to determine whether the acts of SMNI is in violation of the franchise warrants its revocation. During the initial hearing, the members elicited from the resource persons of NTC, KBP, and MTRCB on the filing and pendency of cases against SMNI. They also agreed that the acts complained of may have violated Section 4 of RA 1422 on the responsibility of the franchise grantee to the public. It provides, among others, the grantee shall not use its stations or facilities for the broadcasting of obscene or indecent language, speak, act, or seen, and for the dissemination of deliberately false information or willful misrepresentation to the detriment of public interest, encourage or assist subversive and treasonable acts. In reviewing the franchise of Suara Sug Media Corporation in relation to the acts of SMNI, complaint of the committee considers the compliance with the terms and conditions thereon. There are provisions in the franchise that are obligatory upon the grantee, and by accepting the franchise, it is bound to faithfully comply with these obligations. Much is expected from media practitioners. Truth and accuracy are the very tenet of broadcasting, whether in delivering news, editorial, and expressing opinion. Considering the testimonies given and documents submitted, the committee shall determine whether the grantee can continue enjoying the privilege under this franchise. Sa ating mga kasamahan sa Kongreso, ang ating mga bisita at mga manonood ng FB page ng House of Representatives, ang pagdinig na ito ay pagtungkol sa prangkisa ng Suara Sug Media Corporation. Papakinggan po natin ang bawat upang bigyan ng linaw ang isyung pinagkakaloob ng Estado sa prebyong Suara Sug Media Corporation. Kaakibat sa prebyong ito ay ang pananagutan na inatang sa ating grantee. It cannot exercise the privilege with impunity and invoke press freedom as pretext for information that may mislead the public. Nais kong bigyan ng diin na ang isyong ito ay hindi tungkol sa kalayaan ng pamamahayag o ang malayang pagpapahayag. Ito ay ang malagang pagsusuri kung narapat ipagpatuloy ng Suarez Sug Media Corporation bilang isang grantee. Kami po ay kaisa ng bayan sa pagpapalahad ng katotohanan at sumusunod ito kami sa tamang proseso ng pandinig nito. Maraming salamat sa inyo. Before we may proceed, may direct the committee secretary to acknowledge the members in attendance and resource persons with us today. Comsec.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In today's meeting, we have the following members in attendance. We have the Vice Chairperson, Representative Johnny T. Pimentel, Representative Jerbil Luistro, Representative Stella Luz Kimbo, Representative Robert Ace Barbers, Representative Joseph Stephen Paduano, Representative David J.J. Suarez, Representative Ramon Rodrigo Gutierrez, Representative Alan T., Representative Agustina Dominique Pancho. We also have Representative Alfred de los Santos, Representative Francisco Jose Matugas, Representative Toby Chanco, Representative Alfred, Representative Faustino Inodi, Representative Ricardo Cruz Jr., Representative Dan Fernandez, Representative Christian Navia, Representative Romeo Acop, and Representative Antonio Ferrer.
Resource persons. For the resource persons.
For our resource person from KBP, we have Attorney Rudolph Steve Hularbal. From the MTRCB, we have Attorney Cesar Pareja. From the MTRCB, we have Attorney Abubakar Johari and Mr. Bobby Diciembre from MTRCB as well. We have from NTC, the Deputy Commissioner Alvin Blanco. From SEC, we have the General Counsel, Attorney Ronald Padilla and Attorney Gerard Del Rosario. And with them, we have Attorney Mazer Martin Tarnell. From the SMNI, we have Attorney Mark Tolentino, Attorney Rolex Suplico, Ms. Lorraine Badoy, and Mr. Jeffrey Celis. Oh, may we also recognize Honorable Lex Anthony Collada, a member of the committee. And we also have from NTC, Attorney Andy Castillar. And also we invited again Attorney Rico Domingo from the MAD. Thank you. Thank you.
David J.J. Suarez.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Mr. Chair, I just want to start off from where we ended last hearing with regards to the news that Jeffrey Celis mentioned in their program. Mr. Celis, are you with us today?
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you. When we ended our hearing last week, the statements I released was that we were treading in very dangerous grounds as the source the resource person mentioned that his source emanated from the Senate. And I felt that it was important for us to determine who that source was, because it was also determined in last hearing that the statements issued by Mr. Celes in his program was false. And if indeed it is from the Senate, interparliamentary relations between the House and the Senate are now put in question. Because parang ang lumalabas, may nagli-leak ng hindi makatotohanang balita mula sa Senado patungkol sa House of Representatives. At nung December 3, if I may be allowed, Mr. Chair, Senate President Subiri issued a statement. And if I may be allowed to read, he stated, "I have no knowledge whatsoever of anyone from the Senate leaking information to any reporter on any House matter. Until the concerned resource speaker names a Senate employee, there is no reason to believe that these allegations are anything more than intrigues being sown to create controversy and fake news. We respect interparliamentary courtesy and would not want to put a rift in the strong partnership that we have with the House, with the leadership and the members of the House. I would suggest that the House continue their investigation until they get to the bottom of this accusation and press for the concerned person to reveal the name of their alleged source in the Senate. Otherwise, the House can cite them in contempt. If they can prove it's an employee of the Senate, then we will initiate disciplinary action on those involved." Quote unquote from Senate President Miguel Subiri. So now, Mr. Celes, I would just like to reiterate my question. The source, please.
Mr. Chairman, honorable members of this committee, may I be allowed, please, to manifest a statement of clarification before I proceed to answer the question of Honorable Congressman J.G. Suarez, because I believe that the statement that I am going to make as an opening premise to the answer that I should be giving to the Honorable Congressman will settle everything and clarify before the nation a very important statement that I want to make. Mr. Chairman, may I be allowed, please?
Before I allow you, I'd like to remind everyone that your oath
Yes.
has been administered in the last session, and it will continue up to today.
Yeah.
So you're under oath.
Yeah.
So lahat po sabihin po natin ay ang katotohanan. Okay.
Can I proceed, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, you may.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Honorable ako.
meron pong katanungan si Honorable Suarez, di po ba?
Opo.
Hindi ba dapat sagutin lang ng resource person or witness yung katanungan muna
Okay.
bago siya mag-explain? Mr. Chair.
Thank you for the reminder, Congressman Acop, sir. And to the members of this committee, I feel, and it is my right to state before this committee and the August Chamber of Congress, that this committee is not above the law. No one in government is above the law. We are a government of laws. I am protected under the Soto law. I have the constitutional right. I requested per record that I may be given competent advice and assistance of a legal counsel, and such right is guaranteed by the Constitution. And such right is also stipulated clearly in Section 12 of the governing House rules pertaining to committee hearing and conduct of investigation. And even if I am not in a court trial, the right to seek out counsel advice and assistance from a counsel is a part of principle of due process, a principle guaranteed by the Constitution. And I believe before I'll answer any further question, may I manifest respectfully and humbly before this committee that all the statements, even after under oath, in the absence of competent legal advice and assistance previously, may be granted to be stricken off the record because I believe my constitutional rights were
Mr. Chairman,
violated.
point of order. The answer manifestation of Mr. Celes is out of order. He is out of order because you cannot dictate in this house and you cannot move. Only members of you ask members of this house.
Yes, I am explaining, sir.
No,
I am not moving.
no, your manifestation is out of order.
I am requesting.
Do not lecture us.
No, I am
about
not
the rules
lecturing.
of this
I am
committee
standing
and
up for my right.
Mr.
I am standing up for my right.
Remember, we might cite you in contempt.
And so be it,
Kyle,
Your Honor.
You challenge us.
Yes, if
What's
that
the
will
purpose of
be
it?
seen in the
Mr. Chairman.
nation na walang karapatan ang mga invited guests dito na magpahayag, Your Honor, with due respect to you.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Chair,
I'm we're out of order. And what's the position of the chair?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair,
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman,
Chair,
sandali lang po.
Mr. Chairman.
Eric,
may I explain why I
yes, the Honorable Akop is recognized and I understand yung sinasabi po ng ating mga ng ating bisita. Pero alam po ninyo, kung ang ginagamit niyo po ay yung hearing nung huli at wala kay representasyon, hindi po namin kasalanan. Kasalanan po ng mga abogado ng SMNI dahil sila mismo on record ang nagsabi na they are here to represent SMNI and not the anchors because dumistansya nga ho sila. Ang sabi nila, hindi po namin kabaho ang bigyan ng representasyon ang angkor. That's why nung humingi po kayo, ang pinaliwanag ko, hindi ho pwede sila magdepensa sa inyo. Dapat ho humingi kayo ng iba. Dahil hindi ho pwede sila ang magdepensa because they are on record. Under oath, ang sabi nila, kami abogado ng SMNI at hindi kami abogado ng mga angkor. Klaro po yan, Kyrick.
Your Honor, if I may please.
You cannot. You're not allowed. I'm going, yes.
to explain why I cite him out of order. Because he manifested that the previous records, it is taken out of records, and as resource person, they are not allowed. For
Your
that.
Honor, I am
Please,
going to be
I am
detained
still
in this
speaking.
chamber and
I
I am
am
submitting myself before the country in protest my
Mr. Chair,
point of order, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Mr. Chair,
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Order.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay. Pauline. Okay. There's a point of order, the Honorable Dan Fernandez. The Honorable Dan.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman. Out of order is all about your manifestation to straighten out. Patapusin mo ako.
The Honorable.
Huwag ka may bastos. Patapusin mo ako. Mr. Chairman, I will just like to correct. I am not stopping him to issue statement. What I'm saying is, and what I'm pointing out of order is the manifestation that the previous statement, the previous record should be taken out of order.
Mr. Chairman, Mr.
He's
Chairman.
not allowed to do it.
Point of order.
Honorable Dan Fernandez. So the point of order.
May we remind the resource speakers and the members of this committee to observe the proper decorum.
Correct.
If the chairman acknowledge a certain personality, let him speak and
Yes.
don't interrupt the
Correct.
members of this committee while
Correct.
the member is given the right to speak. Maraming salamat po, Mr.
Thank
Chair.
you, the Honorable Dan Fernandez. Honorable Akop is recognized.
Mr. Celis, please be reminded that in this committee and this house, we have
Mr.
rules
Celis.
to follow. Hindi po ba namin sinusunod yung mga rules? Matanong ko nga po.
Yes, sir. I feel
Oo,
that
and
is my
I would like to remind you
Mm.
that these rules are supposed to be followed by members of this committee and by the witnesses or resource persons to be present. And one of these rules is that before you can speak, you ask permission from the chairman. Kami nga, hindi kami nagsasalita na walang permission yung chairman. You better follow that rule. Otherwise, baka mapilitan akong gawin yung hindi ko dapat gawin. Thank you.
The
Your Honor.
Honorable,
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Chair,
wait, I think, the Honorable Ace Barbers.
I was raising a point of order earlier, but
I'm
Congressman
sorry, I
Ako-
didn't hear you that.
It's
well.
okay,
My
Mr.
apologies.
Chairman. Mr. Chairman, kasi gusto ko lang i-refresh yung memory ng ating resource person na no one is curtailing your right. In fact, kaya ka nga nandito, binibigyan ka ng panahon, ng oras para magsalita. But do not play to the crowd saying that your rights are violated in this committee. It's not. Tayo ay nasa demokrasya, di ba? I believe you were a former member of the NPA. Di ba? And alam mo kung ano yung pinaglalaban natin dito, di ba? So, never, ever insult the committee, much more any of the members of this committee. Kasi medyo yun ang affront. Yun ang affront sa amin. And do not challenge us to do what we feel is right to do to you because you might not like it. I am just going to remind him of that, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
The Honorable Ace Barbers. Any
Mr.
other
Chair.
member that would like to speak?
I believe that this is an aid or an inquiry in aid of legislation, and resource persons should be reminded that they should observe proper
Correct.
decorum. I'd just like to remind all the resource persons that under Section 11, this inquiry, or for that matter, Congress has the power to contempt. The committee may punish any person for contempt by a vote of 2/3 of the members present, there being a quorum. And there are 6 grounds for contempt. One of which is letter E, acting in a disrespectful manner towards any member of the committee or any misbehavior in the presence of the committee. So, Mr. Chair, we do not want to cite a resource person for contempt. Kaya nakikiusap kami sa iyo, Ka Eric, na kung pwede, please respect this committee and observe proper decorum. Nasa rules po natin na you cannot speak if you are not recognized by the chair. Actually, naka-strike 1 na po kayo, Ka Eric. Kanina, you were not recognized by the chair but you kept on talking. So again, may I advise Ka Eric, we are not suppressing your rights, but also respect this committee and observe proper decorum.
thank you very much. Mr. Chair, if I may continue.
There was a question raised by the Honorable Suarez. Alam po ninyo, kay Rick, kung meron po kayong karapatan, may karapatan din pong committee. Lahat ho tayo may karapatan dito. So, ang tanong ho, yes or no? May tanong ho si Congressman J.J. Suarez. Huwag na ho natin pahabain. Yes or no?
I will refuse to answer, Your Honors, not because I disrespect this committee, but I will invoke my right guaranteed by the Constitution because I believe this committee cannot be above the law, especially the Constitution. Mr.
Can I just,
The Honorable
Mr. Chair,
J.J. Suarez.
what right is that you are invoking, Mr. Celis?
The Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights guarantees me for the guarantee of due process and even the Soto law and even the House rules.
Yes.
Constitutionally guaranteed rights, Your Honor, Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman, cannot
Mr.
be violated by any branch of the government.
Ka Eric, may katanungan. Is that
Mr.
clear?
Mr.
Alam po ninyo, Ka Eric, meron ba kayo kasamang abogado na yun?
May I answer?
Opo.
That's why I am requesting since last hearing that I may be given the counsel. Now,
Alam po
I will
ninyo,
hire,
Alam niyo, if you keep going back, last year, ang tanong ko na yun.
I will hire
Wag-
Attorney Mark Tolentino and Attorney Rolex Soplico as my personal choice
Okay.
to do
So,
legal counsel.
Everything
for me.
that you say now is guided by your lawyer, who's
Yes.
also here.
Not yet, sir, because they are not, Mr. Chairman, permitted and granted authority to be recognized as my legal counsel. That's why I'm requesting. I'm hiring today, this afternoon, Attorney Mark Tolentino and Attorney Roy Soplico.
Are the lawyers accepting that mandate? Because you remember, in the last hearing, you manifested that you are not representing Eric and the anchors because of the disclaimer issue. Are you accepting?
I'm accepting, Your Honor.
Attorney Rolex Suplico.
I am accepting, Your Honor.
Okay, so thank you very much. So everything that will be say, go, no ka Eric, may abogado na po kayo. Yes or no?
May I request again,
Yes.
Congressman Honorable J.G. Suarez to rephrase the
Chair.
question,
Ayun.
please.
Now with the presence of your lawyer, it's just a little bit ironic that in the past few days you've been on air talking about the hearing, talking about your opinions on about the hearing, and together with Attorney Mark Tolentino, I think there was a few episodes na magkasama pa kayong dalawa. So you're very vocal and you're very opinionated about your position. And last hearing, I just want to remind you, you apologized to the committee because the statements that you issued in your show kasama ang bayan, tama po ba 'yon?
Yes, Your
Laban
Honor.
kasama ang bayan. Humingi ka man ng paumanhin dahil yung sinabi mong 1.8 billion ay walang katotohanan. Inamin nyo yun. Ngayon, sinabi mo ang source mo ay galing sa Kongreso. Sinabi ko mula sa House of Representatives, ang sabi nyo po ay hindi po House. Dalawa po yung House, Congress at Senate. Sinabi nyo, kinonfirm nyo na lalaki na taga-Senado. Ngayon po, naglabas na po ng statement, mismong Senate President na ang nagsasabi. Hindi na ito nanggagaling sa amin, although I am pressing hard that I want you to reveal that source because we want to find out the truth. Mr. Celis, the truth, and nothing is more important than the truth. So I'm asking you nicely, who is your source?
May I qualify, Your Honor, Mr. Chairman, may I be allowed to speak?
Yes, but before that, I'd like to remind you and the lawyers that under Section 13, the participation of counsel in this hearing for the witness during the hearing and while the witness is testifying shall be limited to advising the legal rights of the witness. Is that clear, Attorney Tolentino and Attorney Suplico?
Yes,
Okay,
Your Honor.
that will only limited to that. Wala ho tayong coaching dito, ha? Yes. Eric.
Yes, sir.
Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the recognition.
Mr. Chair.
Congressman Suarez, sir.
Please answer straight
Yeah.
directly, ha? Wala ho tayong ligoy na sagot ho dito.
Mr. Chair, can I something?
Okay.
Can I say something
Yes.
before you proceed?
Point of order.
Yeah. No,
Go ahead.
no.
Please.
Just want to be enlightened. What is your decision regarding the prior motion made by Congressman Paduano on
Well, the
There's a
motion was
motion, there's a
point of
motion.
order.
no?
He only made the point of order. So he was declaring him out of
Thank you,
order.
thank you.
Thank you. Yes, proceed. Yes or no?
Yeah, thank you po, Mr. Chairman.
Please answer directly, ha? Huwag mo tayo masyadong
I
lumayo.
will not answer it because I am protected by law as per advice in conference with my lawyers here. I am protected by the SOTO law. Unless the SOTO law is repealed, I will be under the protection of the SOTO law. Republic Act number 53.
Mr. Chair. Okay.
And the previous statements made, Your Honor, Mr. Chairman, please, were made without the competent advice of legal counsel. That's why I was requesting humbly for this honorable committee chaired by Congressman Tambunting that all those testimonies regarding the testimonies I made here can be stricken off the record if it may be considered as a request. Because those are inadmissible.
Ang tanong po, alam nyo, lagi nyo sinasabi yung SOTO law, eh. Ano pong portion ng SOTO law ang tinutukoy ho niyo? Anong particular provision sa SOTO law? Pakibasa po.
I will, Mr. Chairman, I will request my counsel to give me the particular provision, or they may be allowed to reference the particular
No, we are
provision.
requesting you.
I don't have the copy of the SOTO.
Then I will suggest that the council give him a
Yeah.
copy of the SOTO law. Because we do not, you're only supposed to, like I said earlier, hindi ho kayo pwede magsalta. Yan magsalta si Ka-Eric.
Mr. Chairman, may I be allowed to read the pertinent provision from the SOTO law? Without prejudice, this is section 1 of 1145 as amended. Without prejudice, is inability and criminal laws, any publisher, owner, or duly recognized or accredited journalist, whether reporter, writer, contributor, opinion writer, editor, columnist, manager of media, or other media practitioner involved in the writing, editing, production, and dissemination of news or mass circulation of any print, broadcast, wire service organization, or electronic mass media, including cable TV, television, and its variants, cannot be compelled to reveal the source of any news item, report, or information appearing or being reported or disseminated through other or the said media which was related in confidence or reported in confidence. Above mentioned media practitioners, unless the court or the House of Representatives or the Senate or any committee of Congress finds that such revelation is demanded by the national security of the state.
Eric,
Your Honor,
pero may magkano
Mr.
po chair para ho maliwanag.
Mr. Chairman, can I explain the
No.
provision?
I will have to answer first the position raised by the witness. Ang unang po sinabi nyo, accredited journalist. Kayo ba'y accredited journalist? Ka-Eric, kayo pong tinatanong po. Kayo po ba'y accredited journalist?
The accreditation or the license to practice journalism does not require any particular organization or government entity to give us license or accreditation for broadcast. If you are referring, Mr. Chairman, to KBP, membership to KBP is voluntary. KBP is not an absolute regulatory power for broadcast.
So ano
We are like an NGO and private organization.
ano pong basihan nyo, basihan ng provision niyan, nung sinabi niya kailangan accredited, is kayo nag-cite ng batas. Kayo nag-cite ng prohibition.
Mr. Chairman,
Accredited journalist, hindi ho kayo, sino dapat mag-accredit sa inyo?
SMNI is an accredited and franchise-granted media. And therefore, the prerogative in the decision for editorial decision who can broadcast or cannot broadcast in their station rests with the franchise granted to them. Therefore, hindi po kami required na maghingi ng pahintulot sa gobyerno na mag-broadcast kami doon. Dahil kami po ay bahagi ng isang media organization na may legitimate existence as granted by franchise.
Yes, but remember, may disclaimer. Ang sabi ng SMNI, hindi po nila pananagutan ang gagawin nyo. At hindi na nga raw kayo empleyado, sabi nila. So, ergo, hindi ho namin agad-agad kaya tanggapin yung inyong mungkahi. Pangalawa, I would like to remind you that this is a house inquiry which is provided for by the SOTO law. And third, tatanungan ko, security of state, binanggit nyo. Ano po ibig nyo? Ito ba yung security of state? Tingin nyo itong issue to? Which is an exception?
Ang 1.8 billion na pagtatanong ko po, Your Honors, Mr. Chairman, ay hindi po threat to national security. Kapag ito po'y tinatanong ng mga media practitioners at ng mamamayan patungkol sa tamang pangangalaga sa pundo ng bayan. And I believe Congress is not exempted from public transparency and accountability in the disposal of public funds.
Alam po ninyo.
It's not an issue
Mr.
of
Chair, I think I
national
still have
security.
the floor.
Yes.
Yes.
Huling katanungan. Alam po niyo yung security of state sa amin. Ito po yung sinabi nyo na empleyado ng Senado ang nagbigay. Sa amin, yan po ay seguridad ng ating institusyon, seguridad ng ating bayan. So kaya po, ito po ay hindi nyo po pwede i-cite ang Sotolo. Mabuti po, malaman nyo na po ang posisyon. At ito'y pinag-aralan po natin, may abogado po kayo, meron din po kami mga abogado rito, may mga researchers po kami. At ang Sotolo ay hindi po applicable dito sa sinasite nyo. Sa tatlong tinanong ko, pare-pareho, hindi po pwede yan. The Honorable J.J.
Thank you very
Suarez,
much.
you are
Th-
recognized.
So thank you very much, Mr. Chair. So let's just go back to points that already been established. Number one, the statement that you issued were false. You admitted it and you apologized for it last hearing. Number two, you mentioned that your source is from Senate. And Caselis, Mr. Celis, the law that you have just stated that you sought to use to protect your right and not to reveal your source apparently has been ruled cannot be applied. So therefore, I'm asking you again, dahil may kinalaman na to, may mabigat po ang kinalaman ang repercussions nito You're talking about interparliamentary relationships between the House of Representatives and between the Senate. And none other than the Senate President has already issued a statement about this. So I don't think you see the gravity of the statements that you have issued between both houses in Congress. Now, Mr. Celis, for the last time, please identify your source.
Mr. Chairman, may I be allowed to answer?
Mr. Chair, this is the fourth time I asked Mr. Celis this question. And every time I asked him this question, ang laki ng introduction, wala pa rin yung sagot. Pwede po ba this time, pag pinagbigyan natin siya magsalita, sabihin niya na po yung pangalan?
Kasi kung mag-introduction lang kayo, tapos i-cite nyo na naman, dinisalaw ko na. Sinasabi ko na hindi namin kayang tanggapin yung Sotolo for this particular issues. And we provided the basis for that too. Sa mga binigkas yung provision, doon ko mismo hinugot ho yung argumento namin. Ngayon, kung hindi ko yung sasagot, we will not allow you anymore. Kasi nagre-request na si Congressman Suarez ng kasagutan, pangalan ang kailangan niya.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, may I
Magbibigay po kayo mo ng pangalan o hindi?
may I request that I be allowed to confirm with my legal counsel, please?
Oh, they're right beside you. They can confirm.
May I request for at least a
Yes.
1-minute conference with them?
Please.
Mr. Chairman? May I
Session
be recognized
resumes.
again, please?
Okay, please proceed.
In our constitutional democracy,
Hindi.
only the courts can interpret the laws, not Congress.
Okay.
So
Salamat
I will
po.
not answer that question because I believe Congress does not have the right to interpret laws.
Okay.
It
Mr.
is
Chair.
with
Mr. Chair,
Congress to pass laws, but not to interpret laws.
Mr.
Salamat
Chair.
po.
I take back my statements previously.
Mr. Chair,
Okay, the Honorable Toby Chanco is recognized.
Mr. Chair, in the sense of fairness, since we really want to know the source, para malaman natin kung ano talaga yung pinagkakalat nito, would we allow Mr. Celis, Eric, to reveal the source in executive session? Would the chair allow?
Yes, Eric. It's an executive session, an option for you. There's a suggestion by the Honorable Toby Chanco of Navotas na Kung ayaw niyo po sabihin sa harap ng camera at sa publiko, okay lang ba? Executive session. We will call for executive session now. Para lahat ho ng options ay binigay na po namin sa inyo. Eric,
That would be very dangerous for other media practitioners present here because it will create a very dangerous and negative precedence on the protection of source provided by law. I will refuse still. Your Honor, due to
salamat
respect.
po.
Mr.
Salamat
Chair,
po tayo. The Honorable Toby Chanco is still recognized for a follow-up question.
No, I just wanted to manifest that the reason that we're suggesting an executive session is to show na tayo naman, hindi naman tayo, na binibigyan natin siya ng pagkakataon na i-reveal. Kung talagang gusto niya pangalagaan, at least an executive session. But it seems ayaw niya pa rin po, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, it is very clear that Mr. Celis does not want to answer the question to reveal the source, whether in this inquiry or in executive session. So therefore, Mr. Chair, under Section 11, the power to contempt, letter E, grounds for contempt is for a resource person refusal to answer any relevant inquiry. Actually, Mr. Chair, Mr. Celis has already violated two provisions of Section 11. The first one, acting in a disrespectful manner, and the second one, which is very more important rather, is his refusal to answer the question in a relevant inquiry. On this note, Mr. Chair, I move to contempt, to cite for contempt Mr. Celis for on these two grounds under Section 11. So move, Mr. Chair.
Second the motion.
There's a motion,
Your-
duly seconded. Any objections from any member
Mr. Chairman,
of this committee? There being no objections, on a
Mr. Chairman.
unanimous vote,
Mr.
the
Chairman.
Eric is cited for
Mr. Chairman, may I be recognized?
ask the Sergeant of Arms to please
Mr. Chairman,
take on.
Mr. Chair,
Eric.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Chairman, Mr.
Mr.
Chairman,
Chair.
Mr. Chairman,
can we request the Sergeant at Arms to
Mr.
practice
Chair.
his responsibility after the hearing? Because there's still other details that
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, point of order. The motion was for Mr. Celis to be cited in contempt. And I think there's supposed to be a second motion. Yes. No, the motion should be for him to be detained. Where? Because under our law, the contempt of the committee shall be deemed contempt of the House. The person cited in this section may, upon order of the committee, be detained in such place as the chairperson or acting chairperson may designate. In other words, we have to decide where to detain him and for how long, Mr. Chair. That's supposed to be the second motion.
Mr. Chair, I believe with regards to the duration, it will be up to this committee to decide and of course to Mr. Celis kung kailan po niyo sasagutin yung tanong natin, and then maybe we could lift the contempt. But as long as hindi pa niya sinasagot yung tanong natin, the contempt will remain.
Mr. Chairman, final statement before niyo po ako ikulong.
Mr. Chair, I move for
Can I have a
a
final statement, please? Before po ako magpapakulong, I request the committee.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In an earlier motion, Mr. Chair, we have already approved to cite for contempt Mr. Celis. On this note, Mr. Chair, I move to detain him in the premises of Congress as per our rules on Section 11. So move, Mr. Chair.
The motion.
Mr. Chairman, sir,
Mr. Chairman, honorable members of the committee, may be given 1 minute,
Chairman,
please?
Chairman, in relation to the motion,
Oh.
can I have,
Because it is
Honor-
required.
the Honorable
two-thirds for
Paduano.
voto.
The Honorable Paduano is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, ang ano lang, point of inquiry lang, kasi we are not allowed to have a detention for indefinite period of time. So we have to establish how long. And the lifting of such detention will depend on the members of this committee, of course, with the cooperation of the person in contempt. So we have to establish how long, because we are not allowed to detain indefinite based on so many jurisprudence, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Honorable Ako is recognized.
yes. There is a decision by the Supreme Court that we cannot detain a person indefinitely. And therefore, may I move that we come up with a definite period for detention insofar as Mr. Celis is concerned. For violation of paragraph C of section 11 of the rules.
Nakalagay doon, 10 days na. 10 days. 10 days na nakalagay. 10 days lang.
Motion. Kailangan may
10 days. The Honorable Ako, would you like to make a motion?
May I move that Mr. Celis be detained for being cited in contempt for violation of section 11, paragraph C, refusal to answer any relevant inquiry by the members of this committee for a period of 30 days.
Mr. Chairman? Hindi ko ba sila?
He will go on break on December 30 unless he files a motion for reconsideration. We have done this in the different committees already.
Mr.
Congress.
Chair,
There's a motion. The Honorable Committee.
the reason why we cited Mr. Celis for contempt is because he does not want to answer the question. That is precisely why he violated paragraph C. So why will we give him a timeline? Eh kung kahit na hindi pala siya sumagot, papalabasin natin si Mr. Celis. The reason why we cited him for contempt, eh gusto nga natin nasagutin niya yung relevant inquiry natin, nasagutin niya kung sino yung source niya. So I believe that we should not give a timeline, Mr. Chair.
After citing the jurisprudence, Mr. Chair, I submit to the wisdom of this committee.
Mr. Chairman,
Matindi yung nangyari na yun. Ako, grabe, no? Talagang pinasight of contempt talaga si Ka-Eric Celis. At tingin ko, hanggat hindi niya inaamin kung sino
House rules, you're very
kanyang,
much-
source, patuloy siyang masasight of contempt at patuloy siya na makukulong dyan po sa Kongreso. Hindi umubra yung sotolo ni Ka-Eric. Nag-off-air sila, pero eto, pinagpatuloy po ulit. jump na tayo dun sa ano, sa mismong meeting. Diyan mahihirapan si Eric Celis niyan kasi
Question the Honorable Suarez 4 times. And so that being said, the chair would like to call the Honorable Pimentel to manifest his the motion on the time frame.
Mr. Chair, I would like to amend my previous motion. Therefore, Mr. Chair, I move to detain Mr. Celis for he was cited in contempt until the adoption of the committee report at the plenary session, Mr. Chair. So move.
Okay, so that is also an amendment to the motion of the Honorable Akop early on. There's a motion amending the motion of the Honorable Akop. Any second? Seconded? The chair hearing no objection, the chair adopts and approves the motion of the Honorable Johnny Pimentel. So the Sergeant of Arms is hereby directed to enforce the decision of this committee. Maraming
Mr. Chair,
salamat.
can I make a comment, Mr. Chair?
Session suspended. Attorney to
Yeah, the reason why
now implementing. As a matter of fact, in one of the invitations that he was the resource person, sabi ko nga, nung bata ako, narinig ko ng pangalan na Rolex Suplico. Elementary pa lang ako. Ganyan ho kasi yan. Kaya lahat ng ginagawa namin, si Atty. Suplico rin ho, alam ho niya lahat yan. Okay, maraming salamat po.
Mr. Chair,
Okay,
I
we now
think
proceed.
yes, I think I still do have the floor.
Still with the Honorable J.J. Suarez.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chair, can the chair please reiterate the due process that the committee followed in relation to the contempt order that was issued against Mr. Celis? Isa-isa lang natin para klaro.
There was he was allowed to speak. 4 times you asked the question. The Honorable Suarez asked the question. 4 times he refused to reply. And the Honorable Chanco even afforded him a executive session. And again, he refused. So obviously, he will refuse to answer any question that the Honorable Suarez will ask. And he would always cite a law which is unacceptable to this committee because it does not it is not the intent of that law
Okay,
to he cannot hide under that law.
thank you
That's
very
what the
much.
committee is saying.
Yeah, the reason why I asked Mr. Chair is because, going back to our last
And
hearing,
lastly, he was given a counsel.
thank you.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
last hearing kasi, inamin niya na mali yung source niya at humingi na siya ng paumanhin. So para gamitin pa yung SOTO law, it's not anymore applicable to him because sinabi niya ng mali. Ang hinihingi na lang natin kung sino. Kung sino dahil may kinalaman po ito sa relasyon ng mababang kapulungan at ng Senado. At pati po Senado, I won't be surprised kung kayo po ay magpupumilit na hindi magsasabi ng totoo, I won't be surprised if the Senate might conduct their own inquiry into this matter as well. Because you have already involved the Senate into this misinformation and fake news. So, Attorney Tolentino, as counsel to Mr. Celis, are you willing to cooperate with the committee?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Earlier, I was a little bit offended. Your client stood up and uttered some words. Are you supportive with that, with your clients?
I'd like to
Do you
apologize.
share the same sentiment as your client, Attorney Tolentino?
What statement, Mr. Chair?
When he called the court the kangaroo court, when he called this committee a kangaroo,
Maybe that's his opinion, Mr. Chair.
and you do not share it,
No, Mr. Chair.
do you think it is right?
I cannot answer that, Mr. Chair, because I believe still there is attorney-client privilege. I cannot talk if not authorized by a client, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. So anyway, Mr. Tolentino, as counsel to Mr. Celis, would you be kind enough to share with us any information regarding the source of that misinformation, fake news that SMNI broadcasted in your television show?
I have no personal knowledge that, Mr. Chair.
Dr. Badoy, would you have any knowledge on who the source is?
Mr. Chair, no knowledge at all.
Do you know Mr. Celis's phone number?
Phone number. Yeah, I have his number here.
Would you be kind enough to share it with this committee?
Am I allowed? Mr. Chairman, could I ask my lawyers if I could do that?
Yes, I mean,
It's in the guest list. Alright, so I'll give it. Okay, so I'm allowed. Okay. Mr. Chair, it's in the guest list outside. Yeah, all of us.
again,
Can you just,
The number, Mr.
Okay,
can
Chair.
you just tell us the number, please?
Okay, hold on.
As requested by the Honorable Suarez.
Yeah, okay. Right now, Mr. Chair. Mr.
Yes.
Chair, it's 09.
Sige, please. Can you please, approach?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, the reason why I asked for those phone numbers is other than citing the source of Mr. Celis emanating from the Senate, he mentioned that he also received a text message supporting that claim on Monday. And if I'm not mistaken, the date would have been November 27, but I'll have to check my records. Mr. Chair, can I move to subpoena the text messages of that phone number? Just to know whether or not meron po ba talagang pumasok na text na nagsasabi na ganito kalaking kahalaga ang ginastos ng House of Representatives. Kasi kung lalabas sa phone records na walang text at ayaw sabihin ni Mr. Celis yung pangalan, maaaring gawa-gawa lang itong mga pinag-uusapan natin dito at walang basehan. So, Mr. Chair, I move that we subpoena the messages from these two phone numbers on the specific date when those broadcasts was aired on SMNI. So move, Mr. Chair.
Motion by the Honorable David J.J. Suarez, seconded by the Honorable Vice Chair Johnny Pimentel. Any objections? The chair, any objections? The motion is approved. We will now proceed. Okay, now.
Yes, just for the information of the body, Mr. Chair, it is on 11/27, November 27, 2023, and the show was aired, I think at 10 in the 10 in the evening, correct? Morning, 10 in the morning. So, with that being said, Attorney Tolentino, can I just ask, nasa na po yung,
Yes, Mr. Chair.
yes, yung presidente ng SMNI?
Mr. Chair, Actually, he wants to come here, Mr. Chair, but he has is sick right now, Mr. Chair. I have with me a medical certificate, Mr. Chair.
So, but you will be speaking on his behalf?
Yes, Mr. Chair, but of course, I have a limited authority, Mr. Chair.
So, okay, anyway, Mr. Chair, if I may proceed, just a few questions, and I'll give it to the other congressmen who have more questions.
Thank you.
to ask.
May I ask
Can
if
I
you,
just one question?
yes, before that, when you said you have limited authority, what does that mean?
I am here, Mr. Chair, as legal officer of SMNI.
So,
So I can only talk based on my personal knowledge, Mr. Chair. I cannot talk anything that I do not know, Mr. Chair.
how about the attorney Rolex Suplico? So if he knows half,
The
he
same,
should know
Your
the
Honor.
other half.
The same, Your Honor, we are only legal officers of SMNI. Mr. Rossetti is the president of SMNI. Definitely, there are information that he knows that we do not know.
Okay, so if we
Thank you, Your
don't, okay, let us make this clear. If we're not satisfied with your answers, then we will call for another hearing in a couple of days just for this issue. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
The
Honorable Suarez.
Can we be kind enough to be given a copy of that medical certificate that you're talking about, Mr. Chair?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much.
And now, Mr. Chair. Sana. Okay. Ano? Ayos. Yes. Mr. Chair, the medical certificate is with the secretary who is now with Eric, Mr. Chair. With the secretary of SMNI who is now with Eric.
Why is the secretary with Eric when
We did,
he wasn't, he or she wasn't cited in contempt? That's only Eric.
She's on the way, Mr.
Anyway, pwede nyo naman ibigay siguro mamaya. Para lang-
yes, we will not adjourn this hearing or
So-
suspend it until we get that copy of the certificate. Oh,
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
thank you,
Oh,
please.
submit na lang. Thank you, Attorney Tolentino. Attorney Tolentino, how long have you been serving as counsel for SMNI?
May more than 2 or 3 years, Mr. Chair.
So in any major decision that the network takes, I'm sure they seek your advice.
Just an advice, Mr. Chair.
Okay, fantastic. I just came across some posts of SMNI partnering with the Chinese government network. Is this correct?
I have no personal knowledge with that, Mr. Chair.
But you're the lawyer of SMNI.
I only know something that is relevant to the investigation, Mr. Chair. I didn't know about that, Mr. Chair.
No, but it's all over the SMNI Facebook, well, SMNI Twitter and news report that you have partnered with the Chinese government national TV. So
I'll try my best, Mr. Chair, to answer only answers that I know personally, Mr. Chair.
and you have no knowledge of that.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So how do you serve as counsel when something such as big between two networks cooperating and you have no knowledge of it whatsoever? I don't understand how that relationship works. Kasi kung
because I'm not the only lawyer,
kung
Mr.
sabihin
Chair.
na may kinalaman sa dalawang korporasyon at ikaw ang abogado, hihingi ka ng legal advice, legal opinion, due diligence, bago pumasok sa anuman kasunduan. Inamin mo kanina na ikaw ang legal counsel for the past
Yes.
3 years.
But I am not the
At
only legal
Dito
counsel, Mr.
lumabas
Chair.
kayo na mismo ang naglabas ha, hindi lumabas ng iba. Na merong kasunduan ang inyong dalawang network. So gusto ko pong malaman kung ano pong ang kasunduang ito.
The best person to answer that, Mr. Chair, is the president of SMNI, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so we will take note of that statement and we will call for another hearing this week. Since magalang naman yung ano niya, I hope he's well by then.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Chair.
So everything that you do not answer, we will bring up in the next hearing. Let us be clear, ha? And more questions. So I suggest, kung alam niyo naman po, para matapos na po yung issue. Okay.
Based on my information, Mr. Chair, the agreement with the Chinese company is not SMNI or the Suarasug, but it's SMNI Foundation. That's a different company, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So insofar as it's SMNI and alam niyo pwede
And
na lang
it's-
pong
and-
Attorney Tolentino, pwede niyo na lang pong pagsalitain yung bumubulong sa inyo. Pwede po namin i-recognize para mas madali.
I'm the one authorized to talk in behalf of SMNI, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So again,
So the agreement with Chinese company, based on my information, Mr. Chair, is not yet concluded, Mr. Chair. It's still in the process of negotiation.
so is there any documents that would legitimize your statement?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we will submit that next session, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. So please submit it to us. So what you're saying is number one, it's not SMNI Suarasug,
Yes, but SMNI Foundation, Mr. Chair.
but in the news articles that I've read, there was a statement that there will be shared information and production and other shows. So ano pong lalabas doon?
That's why, Mr. Chair, we will submit all available documents, Mr. Chair, if any, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Suarez is, thank you very much. I'd like to ask the COMSEC to please acknowledge first our guest before we proceed to the next interpreter. There are members who arrived today. Please.
With the permission of the chairman, the following members are also present in today's hearing. Minority Floor Leader Marcelino Libanan, Representative Jose S. Aquino II, Representative Margarita Ignacia Nograles, Representative Ivan Howard Ginto, Representative Joseph Gilbert Biolago, Deputy Minority Leader Franz L. Castro. We also have Representative Jefferson Konghun, Your Honors.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the Committee of Franchise. The next interpreter is the Vice Chair of the committee, the Honorable Johnny Pimentel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As stated by the chairperson, Honorable Gaston Bunting, the Committee on Legislative Franchises will pursue its mandate to deliberate on matters referred to its jurisdiction relating to the granting, amendment, extension, or revocation of legislative franchises. In proceeding with this mandate, the committee will exercise its oversight function to determine whether or not the laws passed upon it are being implemented and carried out in accordance with the intent of Congress. This authority is expressly provided under Article 6, Section 21 of the Constitution, which provides that the Senate or the House of Representatives or any of its respective committees may conduct inquiries in aid of legislation in accordance with its duly published rules of procedure, and the rights of persons appearing in or affected by such inquiries shall be respected. The committee is presently conducting this hearing upon the initiative of the proponents to look into the franchise of Suarasug Media Corporation and determine whether the terms and conditions therein are complied with. We invited relevant government agencies, the grantee, and stakeholders to assist us in proceeding with the investigation, as we will give all parties the opportunity to present this committee their respective position on the matter in adherence to due process. The committee will not suppress any rights, nor will endeavor to intimidate our guests and resource persons that we invited purposely to assist us in pursuing our mandate. Kami po ay narito para bigyan linaw ang mga issue patungkol sa pagsunod sa mga batas na ating pinasa sa Kongreso para sa ating serbisyo bayan. Let me cite the affirmation from the Supreme Court that a franchise right is a special privilege and certain conditions are imposed particularly to safeguard it against abuses. The committee is being criticized of zeroing in on the statements of anchor person Eric Celis regarding the travel expense of the speaker, which we have established to be inaccurate. And Mr. Celis even admitted that he did not verify the information he received. Let me clarify that we are not focusing on this matter, and the committee is also considering other issues in reviewing the franchise of Suara Sug. The grantee asserted that it already obtained a vested right by virtue of the franchise grant and cannot be taken away without due process. But may I also remind you that the very franchise recognized the authority of Congress to amend, alter, or repeal the grant when the public interest so requires, and this hearing is being conducted to accord the grantee the opportunity to address the call for the revocation of the franchise. Mr. Chair, during the last hearing, we deliberated, we discussed on the possible violations of Suara Sug on their franchise, Republic Act 11422, especially on sections 4, responsibility to the public, section 10, sale, lease, transfer, grant of usufruct or assignment of franchise, section 11, dispersal of ownership, and section 12, reportorial requirement. Now, on this hearing, in this hearing, let me expound, Mr. Chair, on section 4, because as I see it, Mr. Chair, it seems that SMNI has a pattern of harassing individuals and entities using false informations. I sincerely believe that SMNI is being used as a tool to spread false information with regards to attacking, maligning, destroying the reputation of certain individuals and entities. Kaya nga, Mr. Chair, in this hearing, I would like to establish, or rather hopefully establish, itong pattern ng sex, or rather serial harasser. Mr. Chair, upon research for the past few days, we have found out that SMNI or Suara Sug, for that matter, is facing several cases, not only in the courts, but in KBP, MTRCB, NTC, and other bodies. I have in my possession some of the cases, Mr. Chair. One, Concepcion, Empeño, Erlinda, Catapan, and Cristina Palabay versus Suara Sug Media Corporation. Docket number case number 2022-027. It was filed at the National Telecommunication Commission on June 2022. The complaint arises from an SMNI broadcast featuring an interview with Palparan conducted by Lauren Badoy. In this interview, allegations were made associating Vice President Robredo, suggesting an alliance with CPP, NPA, and DF. The broadcast specifically referred to the Bicol region as being infested with such affiliations. Number 2 case, Alfonso Tomas Atom Pagaduan Arroyo versus Jeffrey K. Eric Celes and Lorraine Marie Badoy Partosa. Docket number R-QZN-23-08237-CV. It was filed at the RTC Quezon City Branch 306 on September 11, 2023. The episodes mentioned in SMNI accused RAOUL of being a member of the CPP, NPA, NDA, producing documentaries and participating in activities detrimental to government efforts. Case number 3. This was filed in the Professional Regulation Commission on April 11, 2022. Bonifacio Carmona versus Lorraine Marie Badoy Partosa Eleanor Hara. The complaint specifies Badoy's Partosas actions utilizing her government position to spread baseless and harmful accusations against the complainants. Case number 4, Ombudsman cases versus Lorraine Badoy. Again, this is in connection with their practice of spreading false information. Now, Mr. Chair, may I ask Lorraine Badoy, inakusahan po ninyo si former Vice President Leni Robredo claiming that she has an alliance with communists. Meron po kayong ebidensya na nagpapatunay na si former Vice President Leni Robredo ay may alyansa sa komunista? Because you released this statement and accused her of conniving with communists. Because if you cannot prove or you cannot present evidence, then clearly this is a testimony that indeed Lauren Badoy and Ka Eric is spreading false information, which is a violation of Section 4. Kasagot po, Ma'am Badoy.
Mr. Chair, yung tungkol po sa former Vice President, yung statement po na yon ay hindi po yon personal na opinion ko. I said all those things as the Strategic Communications Cluster Head of the National Task Force, LCAC at the time, and that was in fact the official stand of our government. Therefore, meron po siyang tinatayuan na ebidensya. Hindi ko po yon personal na opinion.
Pero kayo po ang nag-disseminate ng information na yon.
Apo.
It could be the stand of the government, but kayo po ang nag-air ng akusasyon na yon na si Robredo ay may alyansa sa komunista. Hindi po ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair, because that was part of my
So
job.
in short po, ginamit po din yung plataforma ng SMNI to spread false information. Hindi po ba?
Mr. Chair,
Because according to you, hindi galing sa inyo eh. So did you verify the report?
Mr. Chair, that came from the National Task Force, LCAC, and that was our official stand. And the LCAC is made of all these agencies in government. And kaya ko sinabi po yon, Mr. Chair, it was as my mandate bilang trabaho ko po na spokesperson na National Task Force, LCAC, na bago naglalabas ng ganyang statement, meron pong vetting process.
Okay, ma'am, meron po ba kayong dokumento to support this position of the National Task Force?
I can, Mr. Chair, I can produce it.
Okay,
Because
can you please submit that by tomorrow to the committee?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And we would like to see the basis. This National Task Force, this was created by whom?
The National Task Force, LCAC, Mr. Chair, is the Executive Order number 70 that was created by then President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, and it was continued by the sitting President, President Bongbong Marcos.
So it is still
yeah,
in
it-
existence, this National Task Force.
Yes, Mr. Chair, but I'm no longer part of it officially.
Thank you very much. The
Thank you,
Honorable
Mr.
Mr.
Minister.
Chair, as I've stated earlier, I would like to establish that SMNI is being used as a tool to spread false information. Ngayon, dito po tayo. SMNI aired an interview in its news channel wherein Ms. Badoy claimed that Ana Patricia Noon, who put up the Maguinhawa Communist Party, had also links to the communist movement. Totoo po ba ito, Mr. Badoy, Ma'am Badoy?
Mr. Chair, again, that was in official stand po ulit yon ng National Task Force, LCAC. Hindi ko po yon personal na opinion. And I can, again, Mr. Chair, submit documents and proof regarding this.
Yes, as stated by the chair, pakisubmit din po dito kung totoo po ba talaga na yun ang stand ng government because kayo po ang spokesperson at that time.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
SMNI also violated numerous provisions of 2007 Broadcaster Code of the Philippines, specifically as regards to the credibility of news sources and reports. Ito po ang palaging problema ng SMNI eh. Mr. Chair, kagaya nung sinabi ninyo na that the speaker spent 1.8 billion pesos in traveling expenses. Pero during the last hearing, nung tinanong ko po si Eric, eventually he admitted na mali pala ang source niya because we presented their documents and testimonies from the Secretary General and the head of the Finance Department, Bobby Maling, proving otherwise na walang katotohanan yung 1.8 billion pesos. So, Mr. Chair, clearly, as I've said, meron ho silang pattern. Well, I mentioned already 4 cases. Ngayon, sa KBP, meron din kaso ang SMNI. Now, may I ask the resource persons, ano ang nature ng kaso ng SMNI?
Mr. Chair? Yes.
May I recognize, Mr. Chair?
KBP.
No, this question is addressed
To
to
KBP.
KBP.
I'm addressing my question, Mr. Chair, to KBP.
KBP, you have the
Because,
floor.
As I said earlier, dahil sa daming fake news, sa daming mga maling impormasyon na pinapalabas sa SMNI in their program and other programs, ay marami ho nga silang kaso. Yun ho ang ina-establish ko. Because of the false informations that you are disseminating, you are faced with several cases proving na marami kayong hinaras, marami kayong minalign, marami kayong sinira ng mga reputasyon using false information. Yun po ang gusto kong i-prove dito sa hearing, Mr. Chair.
Mr.
Now,
Chair, my manifestation is related to the question, Mr. Chair.
May
Again, Mr.
very
Chair.
specific, it is the KBP.
Specific.
Okay, that's
So KBP is recognized.
Meron pong kaso sa KBP ang SMNI. Ano yung kasong yun?
Mr. Chair, the complaint was received only today.
Can you please speak closer to the microphone? Thank you.
The complaint from a certain Mr. Luis C. Biraugo was received only today. In fact, I was informed of it only on my way to the hearing. The complaint involves violation of the broadcast code, particularly on airing of unverified reports. Personal attack intended to malign, unfair, criticize, or attack a person, natural or juridical. Speech or action likely to incite any person to violence or antisocial behavior. Vulgar, obscene, or indecent language. Use of vulgar, obscene, or indecent language. And then use of language tending to incite violence, sedition, or rebellion. And name calling of personal insults. May we inform, however, the honorable committee that Suarasug withdrew their membership from KBP. And we are informed only of this afternoon.
Mr. Chair, so yung complaint po ni Luis Borriago, ganun din po, hindi po ba? Maling mga impormasyon and maligning the complainant. And yung request po niya is to revoke the license of Suarasug based on these unconfirmed reports, hindi po ba?
The grounds being cited are the same. Although the request is to determine accountability for the previous flagrant or unmistakable violations of the law and rules.
Mr. Chair.
There's also a prayer for cancellation of franchise, Your Honors.
Okay,
Mr. Chair.
so thank you from KBP. Again, ang nakasaad po doon, citing violations of Section 4, responsibility to the public, and prayer for the cancellation, revocation of SMNI license. Dito naman po tayo sa MTRCB. Alam ko po, meron din nung kaso ang SMNI ho dyan. Mr. Chair, may I ask the former SecGen, Cesar Pareha, to expound or relate to us ano naman po ang nature ng kaso doon sa MTRCB ng SMNI.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes.
There was a case filed with us which we earlier resolved. This was earlier discussed during the last hearing about the airing of the episode on October 10 of Gikan sa Masa para sa Masa, where death threats were allegedly aired against the Honorable Castro. And this has been resolved. We have called the parties into hearing, and they promised to not to repeat the same, and in fact even admitted that they will be they have decided to pre-record succeeding episodes so that they can avoid having this matter on air. And this was resolved on November 9. And we have a resolution that we furnished this committee. Now, we were informed last time that despite this decision, the entity again broadcast another episode with the same content. So they violated what we have agreed upon, and we have called them to appear before the MTRCB. We gave a notice to them to appear on December 7, this Thursday, to look into this matter.
So to clarify, Mr. Chair, ibig niyo hong sabihin, Secgen Attorney Pareha, na may resolution na yung complaint. Anong resolution ninyo? They were reprimanded, they were warned, anong resolution nakalagay doon?
Yeah. They were given a warning that repeat of the similar infraction will be dealt with more severely.
Nakikita po natin, Mr. Chair, pinagsabihan na ho ang SMNI na huwag gamitin yung pinagsabihan ng Suarasug or SMNI, na huwag nang gamitin yung TV network nila sa pagmamalay, pangharas ng mga tao. And in fact, galing sa testimonya ni Attorney Pareha, pinagbawalan ni sila. But in spite of that, ginawa pa rin nila. So that means, Mr. Chair, very clear na po yun na-establish natin na talagang they are in violation of Section 4. Hindi na ho Kongreso ang nagsasabi sa kanila na tigilan nila yung pag-atake. MTRCB na po. So that is a different ikangang entity from Congress. So ibig sabihin talagang palagi silang may mga kalokohan na ginagawa against individuals and entities. So I hope, Attorney Pareha, that you will, as you have said, hindi naman sinunod yung warning ninyo, so they will be dealt with severely. And I hope that you will give them sanctions para naman mabigyan sila ng ikangang lesson na they should follow what is stated Section 4, responsibility to the public, interest of the public. So, establish na po natin, 5 na ho yung kaso, pang-6 na ho yung sa MTRCB. May isang pa bang isa?
We're still, we already notified them, also gave them a notice to appear regarding the episode on the fake news on the speaker's travel. And also on the same day, they will be hearing this on Thursday also.
So Mr. Chair, na-establish natin 7 na yung kaso na hinaharap ng SMNI with different organizations. Doon po tayo sa National Telecommunication Commission. I understand na meron din yung kaso ang SMNI ho dyan.
NTC, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As far as the NTC is concerned, Suarasug also has a pending administrative case. This is under, as mentioned earlier, 2022-027, and also this complaint centers on content aired over the station specifically involving the former vice president. So the NTC has nag-hear na po kami on this case. The respondents who have already been nag-appear na po sila. They have submitted also their corresponding answers. And NTC is for decision na po yung case na yun, sir. But it's still pending for decision by the commission.
So at
Thank
the
you.
moment, there are 2 cases lodged at NTC. So ngayon pa lang, Mr. Chair, we have not done a full research, pero makikita po natin siyam na po ang kaso ng SMNI again with regards to Section 4. This is responsibility to the public. So Mr. Chair, nakikita po talaga natin, SMNI is not a responsible network. Whereas ang ibang mga TV stations or TV networks na humahawak po ng prangkisa, they are there to entertain the Filipino people. They are there to disseminate important information, especially in times of calamities or news article for the betterment, improvement of the Filipino people. In short, as a medium to disseminate information to the Filipino people. But in this case, nakikita po talaga natin, SMNI is not doing that. But rather, SMNI is being used as a platform to malign, to destroy, sisiraan ang isang tao, isang entity, which is, as I've said, Mr. Chair, a clear violation of Section 4, responsibility to the public. So yun po, Mr. Chair, I hope na nakikita po ng committee itong mga kasalanan ng SMNI, itong mga infractions nila. It is within our power to approve, to amend, or to revoke, or to repeal any franchise holder na nakikita natin who is not in compliance with the provisions in their franchise, in this case, Republic Act 11422. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Very much, Vice Chair Johnny
Chair.
Pimentel of the
Mr. Chair.
2nd District of Davao del Sur. Surigao del Sur, I'm sorry.
Mr.
I
Chair.
stand corrected. Yes, Attorney Tolentino.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to manifest that with respect to the SMNI membership with KBP, we already withdraw last December 4, 2023. So the case pending with KBP is already moot and academic. And second, Mr. Chair,
Wait. So December 4,
2023, Mr. Chair. Yesterday. Yes, Mr. Chair.
I understand why you had to withdraw. We're talking the broadcast code
Because,
of the
Mr.
Philippines.
Chair, we believe that the membership of KBP is not mandatory. And in fact,
So if it was not mandatory, why did you join in the first place?
we join, it's an option on our part, Mr. Chair.
Precisely. So,
Yes.
but you joined.
So we have the option to be a
Correct.
member. We also have
Yes.
the option not to be a member.
Yeah. Anyway, we will not anymore
And
You know,
and second,
belabor that
Mr.
point. Ay, wag na ho tayong pumunta ho doon. Basta klaro ho tayo kahapon lang, pagkatapos ng first hearing, ay nag-withdraw po kayo sa
Yes, Mr.
KBP.
Chair.
Klaro lang po yan. Ha?
Mr.
Then,
Chair,
Mr.
I would
Chair.
like to comment on yung sinabi ni Attorney Tolentino. Nag-withdraw sila sa KBP. Bakit? Dahil hindi nga nila masunod yung broadcast code of the Philippines.
Oh.
That is precisely they withdrew their membership because they could not abide by the broadcast code. Hindi nila magawa Section 3, fairness and objectivity. Hindi nila magawa ang Section 5, unconfirmed reports. Hindi nila magawa Article 4, personal attacks. Pati yung mga on-air language. That is why nga these boasters, may accusation, may allegations na hindi sila karapat-dapat bigyan ng prangkisa or bawiin ng prangkisa. The fact that they withdrew from KBP just underscores the need for the revocation of their license. Kaya kayo nag-withdraw, Attorney Tolentino, Mr. Chair, hindi nyo masunod yung code ng broadcasters of the Philippines.
We-
Hindi po ba?
With all
Hindi ko
due,
na tatanungin yan. Very clear na po yun.
Thank you very
Mr.
much,
Chair.
the
Mr. Chair.
Honorable
with all due
Pimentel.
respect to
Chair.
We
the,
now proceed.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, with all
Ano
due
po
respect
ninyo?
to the,
Order. Klaro na po tayo, nag-withdraw ho kayo, no?
yes,
At
Mr. Chair, but
mamaya ho, tatawagin ko po kayo. Marami pa ho mga membro magtatanong. Please to serve your questions.
thank you, Mr. Chair.
The Honorable Toby Chanko of Navotas is recognized. Silence requested.
Yes, magandang hapon po, Mr. Chair, at magandang hapon po sa ating mga resource persons. Sayang po, binigyan natin ng pagkakataon si Ka Eric na magpaliwanag at pinili niyang hindi magpaliwanag. No? Anyway, since si Dr. Badoy po ang co-host, Mr. Chair, if I may ask Dr. Badoy, ang napanood ko kasi yung last hearing, ang sabi niyo po, tinatanong niyo kung totoo na ang gastos ay 1.4 billion o hindi. Tama po, 1.8 billion o hindi. Tama po ba? It was in a form of question and it was not a statement. Yun po ang sabi nung last hearing. Tama po ba yun, Mr. Chair?
Mr. Chair, tama po yun. Correct. It was posed as a question.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Dr. Badoy, yes,
I
sandali na
have
po.
with me the USB, if I'm allowed to play this, Mr.
Yes,
Chair.
po.
Attorney,
I think,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Kung yun po ay tanong, sino po ang tinatanong nila, Mr. Chair? Who was the question addressed to, Mr. Chair?
the Honor,
I will.
ma'am,
Mr. Chair, may I answer?
yes, please.
So, as I recall po, Mr. Chair, the question was being posed to Congress and also I think COA. It was Ka Eric that asked that question and then we seconded him.
Okay, kung tinatanong niyo po ang Congress, sino po ang tinawagan niyo sa Kongreso at sino po ang kausap niyo sa Kongreso para tanungin? O sino po ang kausap niyo o tinawagan niyo sa COA para tanungin?
Mr. Chair,
Please reply.
Mr. Chair, wala po kaming tinanong kasi parang we were called na to this hearing. Did I answer your
I
question?
mean, sorry.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, ang ibig ko pong sabihin, di ba nagproprograma sila nung araw na yon? Ang sabi nila, tinatanong nila. Di ba normal po pag ang isang media entity nagtatanong, Mr. Chair, tatawagan po nila yung tatanungin nila, di ba po? Para makasagot naman yung tatanungin nila. So ang tanong ko po, during the program, sino po ang tinawagan ng SMNI from Congress para masagot yung tanong nila? Yun po ang tanong ko, Mr. Chair.
Please reply.
Okay, Mr. Chair, if I can backtrack a little bit, parang nakita niya sa GAA yung 2-point-something billion for the travel expenses. Tapos parang may nag-text sa kanya. Pero to answer your question, after that program, we didn't ask anybody, Mr. Chair.
Hindi po, Mr. Chair. Maliwanag po yung tanong ko, Mr. Chair. Kasi sabi nila, sila yung nagtatanong at hindi nila sinasabi. Ulitin ko po, tayo, na-interview po tayo, nanonood tayo ng TV. Pag meron tayong tinatanong, meron tayong kausap. Mahirap naman po magtanong na wala kang kausap, Mr. Chair. Sino ho ang sasagot ng tanong kung wala kang kausap? So sino po ang tinatanong nyo para ma-confirm o masabi yung katotohanan tungkol po doon sa 1.8 billion during the program? Meron po ba kayong tinatanong na tao o wala?
Lorraine.
Mr. Chair, yung specific na tao, ang pagkakaintindi ko sa pag-phrase ni Ka Eric ay it was a general question that was addressed to Congress or I think maybe just Congress. But may I also say that lagi namang bukas ang SMNI sa mga tanong kung sino man pwede yon. We always issue an open invitation, Mr. Chair.
Mahirap po yan. That is very unprofessional, Mr. Chair. Members of Congress are being interviewed. Tatawagan kayo. Mahirap naman yung sinabing tinanong, oy, sumagot kayo dito. Hindi ba kung nagtatanong ka, may kausap ka, Mr. Chair. Hindi pa pwedeng nagtatanong ka na wala kang kausap. Sino sasagot sa iyo? So the fact na wala silang kausap, it means it was not a question to be answered. Ibig sabihin, they post it as a question, Mr. Chair, na hindi tayo makakasagot. So, ginamit lang nila yung question yung salitang tanong para protektado sila ng konti at hindi sinabing nag-aakusa sila. Pero sa totoo lang, Mr. Chair, wala silang intensyon na makasagot. Kasi paano ka na masasagot kung hindi ka tinawagan? Di ba? Ito po, siguro sinasabi nyo gusto nyo ang katotohanan. Paano nyo makukuha yung katotohanan, Mr. Chair, kung wala naman po kayong kausap?
Okay. Mr. Chair,
Mr. Ray.
I'm sorry, I'm answering for Ka-Erica, but I'll just really do my best. Kasi parang yung naging impression, siguro yung frustration after the extraordinary funds, the confidential funds, yung usapan na ganyan, na parang ang lumalabas na kwento ay hindi open ang Kongreso sa inquiry. So parang ganun yata yung pinanggagalingan. But I'm not saying that that's what I believe in, ha? I'm just saying that that was where it was coming from. But it was a very sincere question. Yun po yun. Pero I get your point, Mr. Chair, and we will take cognizance of that.
Di ba po, Mr. Chair, Dr. Badoy, if you want an intelligent conversation, dapat naman may resource person kayo, di ba po? Dapat naman bigyan nyo ng pagkakataon na sumagot yung mga, kahit di ba, may nabasa kayo sa tabloid, o babasahin nyo yun, o pwede bang tawagan natin si ganito para madinig naman ang sagot. Pero kung wala pong ganun, mukhang hindi po totoo yung sinasabi na it was a question. It was phrased, hindi ko nakita, as a question just so that hindi pa pwedeng sabihin na nag-akusa. But again, it supports the manifestation of the Honorable Pimentel na mukhang talagang ito'y ginagamit para manira. No?
Mr.
Kasi
Chair-
kung, yes, go ahead.
Sorry. Mr. Chair,
Lorraine.
siguro, kasi it was just out of the blue, Mr. Chair, where Eric said something kay mga, para ganun, may nagtatanong dito, ganun. So, hindi kami nahanda, Mr. Chair, na meron kaming naimbitahan. Pero siguro like 90% of the time, meron kaming resource person, meron kaming tinatawagan. That was part of our yung production process namin, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Pero kung yung ganung bagay, hindi naman siya urgent, hindi naman siya sunog, hindi naman siya lindol, hindi naman siya kalamidad, pwede naman mag-intay yung mga bagay na yun kung talagang gusto nila ng fairness, di ba? Pwede i-verify. Paano yung katulad niya? Nalaman nila later on, nag-apologize sila na mali pala, na-kuryente pala sila doon sa news nila. Di ba? Hindi ba mas mabuti kung hindi naman emergency, bigyan nyo muna ng pagkakataon yung kabila? I mean, in all these cases, kasi mukhang hindi nyo binigyan ng pagkakataon yung
Mr. Chair,
kabila na sumagot.
Mr. Chair, may I
Yes.
respond? May I respond, Mr. Chair, to what you said sa lahat ng mga kasong ito, no? Mr. Chair, ang naging, sa my personal answer, Mr. Chair, ang naging buhay ko nung sumali ako sa gobyerno, my short stint in government, ay talagang tapusin ang CPP, NPA, NDF. At pag tinapos mo kasi yan, pag yan ang kinalaban mo, yayakapin mo lahat. Yayakapin mo ang mga kaso, yayakapin mo ang kasinungalingan, ang pangwawasak ng puri talaga, yayakapin mo yan. So, yung mga sinasabi ng mga kaso, sir, sa totoo lang, Mr. Chair, mas marami pa dyan. Mas marami pa dyan. But napakaganda, nakikita ko ang ating gobyerno, wala namang nag-a-agree. Sa mga, yung allegation is not proof. So, Mr. Chair, tsaka napakaganda that I've worked with some members in Congress, no, na nakita nila na napakahalaga nung na talagang tinatanggalan ng maskara ang mga mapanlinlang na CPP, NPA, NDF na nasa lahat ng sektor ng ating
Mr. Chair,
lipunan. And I know that I
Dr.
stand,
Badoy,
yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
okay.
Ganito, Mr. Chair. With regards to the CPP, NDF, NPA, magkaisa po tayo dyan.
Yeah.
Walang tanong. All out tayo dyan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All out tayo dyan. In fact, I was the one who defended the budget of
Yes.
the OP, and one of the
Yes.
questions was the
I remember,
NDF
Mr. Chair.
aircraft,
Yes,
diba po?
I remember.
So wala tayong pagtatalo dyan.
Yes.
Ang sinasabi lang natin is, yun ulit, hindi logical na gusto mo magtanong at gusto mo nang may sagot na wala ka namang kausap. I mean, that is logic. Hindi na kailangan dito ang pagtalunan niya. Wala naman lohika na magtatanong ka sa hangin, gusto mo may sasagot sa iyo. So, doon sa parte na yon, sa tingin ko talagang may pagkakamali. Okay. Ngayon, pupunta po ako sa lawyers ng SMNI. Nasabi niyo rin po doon sa huling hearing niyo na lahat po ng programa niyo ay may disclaimer. Tama po ba yon?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. What is the logic of having a disclaimer for all your programs? Ano po ang lohika nun? May prangkisa kayo may mga alituntunin yung prangkisa ninyo, meron kayong dapat sundin ng mga alituntunin na dapat fair ang reporting, balansyado, hindi kayo naninirang puri. Tapos sasabihin nyo doon sa mga talents ninyo, bahala kayo kung ano gagawin nyo. Wala kami kinalaman dyan. Paano nyo masisigurado na mas susunod nyo yung alituntunin ng inyong prangkisa kung sinasabi ninyo, bahala kayo sa gagawin ninyo?
It doesn't mean that bahala, Mr. Chair. What we mean that we give full, what do you call this? We recognize and respect the freedom of press, freedom of opinion of all our talents, Mr. Chair. And second, Mr. Chair, with respect to the disclaimer, it is a open secret practice to all media practitioners, all media establishments about disclaimer, Mr. Chair, not only SMNI, Mr. Chair.
Okay, if it's an open practice for all media practitioners, Mr. Chair, what do you have a body within your organization, within SMNI, that monitors and ensures na yung mga anchors niyo at yung mga talents po nila ay sumusunod sa fair and balanced reporting?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have.
Ano po yung tawag niyo doon?
We have a grievance committee, Mr. Chair.
Okay, sino po ang mga miyembro ng grievance committee?
We have the executive producer.
Okay,
We have the associate producer,
okay.
researcher. What do you call this?
Sandali.
Hindi po, paano
Sandali,
magiging member
yung-
ng grievance committee?
Sandali na po, yung grievance committee nyo, para may mali eh. Kasi, ang executive producer ng bawat programa, iba-iba.
Yes,
Ang
Mr. Chair.
associate producer, iba-iba.
Yes,
So
Mr. Chair.
therefore, yung grievance committee nyo, walang permanenteng, ano yan, mga opisyalis. Dahil iba-iba ho yan. Every program has its own set of producers.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have a set of
So-
producers every program.
So, how can you expect people to police their own ranks? Sila producer nun.
Yes, Mr. Chair, yun ang-
How can they rule
And that
in favor or not in favor of anything? Sila ang producer. I think
And-
is this a truthful statement that you have a grievance committee per show?
we have a grievance committee of the entire organization.
Yes, but you just
We have
mentioned.
also a producer per program, Mr. Chair.
Okay, and you said that those are the officers.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So therefore, per show is a different person. How do you expect that person to, ano siya mag-rule na mali yung ginawa ng anchor? Ako yung producer nun eh. Hindi parang pinagalitan ko rin ang sarili ko. So, attorney,
po.
medyo ano ho yan. Anyway, the Honorable Toby Chanco.
No, Mr. Chair, you can continue. Yan po yung pupuntahan ko. Paano mo naman sasabihin na ako nag-produce, mali yung anchor ko? Paano mangyayari yun, Mr. Chair?
I don't think that really is the composition also of the grievance committee. But anyway, that's what they manifested. So we will have to check that out.
Mr.
Honorable
Chair.
Toby Chanco,
Yes.
I don't think there's no logic, no, in having these officials or these officers of a program part of a grievance committee when they're supposed to be the people that very violated the law that we're supposed to be grieving about. But
Mr.
anyway,
Chair, point of
Honorable Toby.
clarification lang
Yes,
dun
yes,
sa
yes.
point ni Congressman
Yes.
Toby. Last hearing, Eric mentioned that he received a text message on Monday and he was meant to meet his source on Wednesday. So Monday pa lang, hindi pa verified yung report, hindi niya pa nakikita yung dokumento, ni-report mo na. Maski na alam mo, magkikita kayo ng source mo ng Wednesday kung kailan niya ipapakita yung dokumento. Which means, wala talaga silang basehan at wala silang hawak-hawak na dokumento, di umano, yung dalawang text messages lang, Kong Toby, yung pinagbasihan nila ng report. Yun yung sinasabi nila doon nung nakarang hearing.
Mr. Chair, may I explain, Mr. Chair?
Okay.
Yung pagkakaintindi ko dito, Mr. Chair, yung source ni Eric, long-standing na relationship yan, dekada, kasi kasama niya yan sa CPP, NPA, NDF. So parang meron na silang sariling palakad na they really trust each other already. So hindi siya yung parang nanggaling lang dito. Kung na you get what I'm saying, Mr. Chair, parang matagal na silang magkakakilala. And at maraming beses siguro yung hindi lang siguro, sure ako dito na yung batting average nung kanyang source ay mataas, no?
Yes, just a final manifestation, no? In granting the franchise and in accepting the franchise holder accepts the conditions and the responsibilities of the franchise. So, hindi ko maintindihan, bakit hindi nyo papangalagaan at sisiguraduhin na yung mga talents ninyo ay susunod dun sa alituntunin ng franchise? Eh, prangkisa nyo yun eh. Pinaghirapan nyo yung prangkisa, dumaan kayo sa proseso, tapos papabayaan nyo lang. Eh, paano kung may personal na interest yung mga talents ninyo? Hindi naman matatanggal yan. Why are you not policing your ranks to ensure na fair and balanced ang reporting ng inyong prangkisa? So, yun lang po, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Toby Chanco
Mr. Chair, just one point before we leave this.
of Navotas. Yes, the Honorable Suarez.
Following yung KBP guidelines and regulations, which used to be a part of, dapat sasabihin nyo doon na this figure is unverified and this figure has not been checked whether truthful or not. Any of those items hindi po nila binanggit dun sa telecasting. I just want to point that out, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very
Chair,
much, the
Mr.
Honorable.
Chair.
Can I make a follow-up?
Mr.
Just
Chair,
one. Just one. Dr. Badoy, are you aware kung may pinadala bang screenshot to Viber o any image yung source ni Ka Eric kaya tumuloy siya doon, or it was just a simple text message?
Mr. Chair,
Lorraine?
I'm not aware of, di ko po masagot yan, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very
Sorry.
much. Okay, the chair would like, before we continue, yeah,
In relation to
the
the,
Honorable Ako.
yes. Madam Badoy, did I hear you correct that you also vouch for the truthfulness of the reports of the high batting average of the source of Mr. Celis? You stated that a
Yes,
while
Mr.
ago
Chair.
in answer to the query of the Honorable Chanco, tama?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And if you're aware of this, would you know the personality or the name of this person?
No, Mr.
Kasi you're
Chair.
voting for his or her high batting average,
Mr. Chair,
and you do not know his name?
may I respond?
Yes, please.
Okay. Mr. Chair, what I meant by that, hindi ko po siya kilala, Mr. Chair. Pero kasi si Ka Eric po ay isang haligi ng National Task Force LCAC sa mga pinaglalahad niya tungkol sa CPP, NPA, NDF bilang dating mataas na ranggong kasapi nito. Yung katotohanan na binigay niya sa NTF LCAC ay napakahalaga, kung kaya't alam namin na yung mga sources ni Ka Eric ay what's it Tagalog? Very reliable, Mr. Chair. And they usually corroborated by other former rebels. But Mr. Chair, I do get your point.
Mr. Chair, alam nyo, sinabi nyo rin sa sagot ninyo kay Honorable Tiangco, na alam ninyo na membro ito ng CPP, NPA, NDF. Tama po ba?
Mr. Chair, dati. Matagal na, sir.
Paano nyo po alam? Kasi para bang yung mga sagot nyo kanina kay Honorable Tiangco, alam na alam at kilala nyo yung taong ito. But when you are asked a question, in so far as the identity of that person is concerned, hindi po nyo masagot. Ngayon, tinatanong ko, membro ba ng CPP, NPA, NDF? Kayo po ang nagsabi nun. Ngayon, ang tanong ko, tinatanong ko kung alam ninyo, sabi mo, dati. Kasi, para bang umiiwas po kayo dun sa katanungan eh.
Hindi po,
Kung dati po siyang membro ng CPP, NPA, NDF, paano nyo alam na umalis siya o tumiwalag siya ron?
pwede pong sumagot, Mr. Chair.
Oh.
So after po nung committee meeting dito, sa totoo lang pinilit ko si Eric. Eric, sino ba yan? Ganyan. I wanted to also, pwede ba, sabihin mo, ganun, para tapos na ito, ganun. But he stood fast on his decision. So kung kaya't yun ang isiniwalat niya. And that's all I know about it, Mr. Chair.
From your answer, Madam Badoy, hindi mo kakilala yung taong yon.
Hindi po,
Hindi mo rin
po,
alam
Mr. Chair.
kung siya ay umalis na sa CPP, NP, NDF. I'm asking this question dahil doon sa sagot ni Mr. Celis na siya ay empleyado ng Senado. Mas takot ako doon kasi meron pala sa amin hindi ko alam nakasama sa CPP, NPA, NDF.
Mr. Chair, pwedeng sumagot.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, sa order of battle ng CPP, NPA, NDF, siguro si Eric nasa number 1. Yan ang unang papatayin ng CPP, NPA, NDF sa dami ng sinabi niya tungkol sa CPP, NPA, NDF. So
You do
hindi ko
not
siya,
have to teach me that.
Mr.
I've
Chair,
been with the military and the police and I know that. Kaya wag mo na akong lecturean dyan. Ang tinatanong ko po sa inyo ay tungkol doon sa sa pagsasagot po ninyo sa katanungan ni Honorable Tiangco. Kilala ninyo yung tao sa sagot ninyo eh. But when you are asked questions about the identity of that person, umiiwas po kayo. Yun lang po, Mr. Chair, ang
Thank you.
aking
Ano, sir?
observation.
Thank you very much.
with Mr. Chair, yeah, Mr. Chair, yeah.
The police general. Kaya magaling ho mag-imbestiga to. Lahat ho ng sinungaling nakausap na po nito.
Mr.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, pwedeng,
Thank you.
yeah.
We will now proceed to the next interpreter. The Honorable Mix Ugrales is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Para makahinga muna tayo ng konti dahil medyo hindi masyadong sinasagot yung mga tanong natin. If it's okay with the committee, if we go through some violations na lang sa prangkisa nila.
Ready to.
I will ask questions and mostly sections 10 and 11,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Please proceed. The Honorable Negrales.
To SMNI, I guess, Attorney Mark Tolentino.
Yes, I can answer that.
In 2005, Kingdom of Jesus GIS states that Pastor Kibuloy is the chairman and registered as a non-stock corporation, correct?
I have with me the history of SMNI
Just asking a yes or no question.
about what, Mr. Chair?
Can you please rephrase the question?
In 2005,
Yes or no lang po ah.
Kingdom of Jesus, in your the GIS states that Pastor Kibuloy is the chairman and the corporation is registered as a non-stock corporation, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Then, Mr. Chair, sometime you became a sole corporation, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
When did you become a sole corporation?
Okay. In 1990, sorry. We are talking of Suarasug Media Corporation or the
Executive
Kingdom of Jesus
Executive
Christ.
Kingdom of Jesus Christ, yes.
So,
Well, it first, like I said earlier, 2005, it was Kingdom of Jesus, right? And it was a non-stock. And then,
in 2006, we amend
yes,
the Kingdom of Jesus Christ to the Executive Pastor of Kingdom of Jesus Christ by amending Article 1 and converting corporation to corporation sole, Mr. Chair.
so 2006, you became a corporation sole.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And during this time, who is the executive pastor of that corporation sole?
Pastor Apollo Kibuloy, Mr. Chair.
As an executive pastor in this corporation sole, by definition of the corporation code, he administers, manages as the trustee, properties of the corporation, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
As the trustee, Pastor Kibuloy had the power to manage the assets of the corporation, meaning he may buy, sell, encumber, lease properties, etc. for the corporation, right?
But still in compliance with
Yes or no,
Yeah,
po, Mr. Chair?
Attorney, klaro naman po ang ano. It's answer first, yes or no. And if you would like to explain, you can expound.
yes, Mr. Chair, but Can I explain,
Yes.
Mr. Chair?
Sure.
Yes, of course, but
Maiksi lang po, ah.
there is a procedure, not just the pastor will decide. There is a body in respect to the process of changing or with respect to the decision of the church, Mr. Chair.
So the answer is yes.
Yes, Mr.
The
Chair.
answer is
Proceed.
yes, siya pa rin ang,
Yes, po na sagot.
kahit may
proceed.
procedure,
Yes,
siya
please.
pa rin, right?
Please.
Okay. So does he have the power to sell, manage, buy properties for beneficiaries?
With respect to what year, Mr. Chair?
With his power as the trustee, as the
In what year,
executive
Mr.
pastor?
Chair? Because the executive pastor was already transferred to Marlon Acobo, Mr. Chair, in 2020. That's why I'm asking, what year, Mr. Chair?
Before the transfer na lang. Sige.
Before the transfer, yes, Mr. Chair.
So you're saying Pastor Kibuloy, before that transfer, has control over the interest, over the properties of the corporation, thus controlling interest, right?
He is the trustee, Mr. Chair. So, subject to
So may
the
controlling
procedure, Mr.
interest
Chair.
po ba, Mr. Chair,
At-
dahil siya yung nagmamanage at lahat?
Klaro lang po natin yung sagot. Yes or no?
Yes, Mr. Chair, with respect to the executive pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ.
Yes, okay. So you mentioned that there was a transfer of the executive pastor,
Yes, in 2020, Mr. Chair.
2020?
Yes,
Are you sure?
in the year 2020.
May amended,
Yes, there's an
Articles
amendment.
kayo?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
what, 2020 ba yung nakasulat dyan or 2022? Ang amended AOI nyo.
Document.
It says, I also have the document and
Migs,
the committee has the
Kong
document.
Migs, can you please ascertain the date? 20 or is it really 2020?
2022.
I think the committee has the AOI, Mr. Chair,
Yes,
of
okay.
the amended AOI.
Can you please reply? Attorney,
May I do the question, Mr. Chair?
is it or 2022?
2022 applied but approved in 2023.
If
2020.
you have a copy of,
Can you please repeat?
you have,
Approved,
Mr. Chair,
applied in 2022, approved in 2023.
So hindi 2020. Okay,
Yes, Mr. Chair.
okay. Go ahead.
so, Mr. Chair, if I can just direct to the committee na lang, if you have the copy. Yes, can you please read na lang, if he can read, Mr. Chair, the amended articles of incorporation on when the date it was adopted
Who are you directing this to? To Comsec?
to,
Attorney.
I have with me here, Mr. Chair,
Okay.
yes. Can you please, Mr. Chair,
adopted on December 19, 2022.
so 2022. Okay. And attached there is a transfer, a certificate of appointment.
Yes, Mr.
That's
Chair.
that's the basis, Mr. Chair, for the transfer of the new trustee.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So,
December 19, 2022. Signed by Pastor Apollo Kibuloy, appointing Brother Marlon B. Acobo.
so now it's Brother Marlon Ocobo who has the same powers previously of Pastor Kibuloy of
Yes,
the
by
controlling
succession.
interest.
Yes, by succession, Mr. Chair.
Let me direct you to section 10 of your franchise. The grantee shall not sell, lease, transfer, grant the usufruct of, nor assign this franchise or the rights and privileges acquired thereunder to any person, firm, company, corporation, or other commercial or legal entity, nor merge with any other corporation or entity, nor shall transfer the controlling interest of the grantee simultaneously or contemporaneously to any other person, firm, company, corporation, or entity without the prior approval of the Congress of the Philippines. Are you aware of this provision?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Did you get the prior approval of Congress for this shift of controlling interest in 2022? Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, may I be allowed to answer that?
Okay, tag team, the Honorable Rolex.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, section 10 give us 3 instances. The first one is not sell, not lease, not transfer, not grant the usufruct of, nor assign this franchise. That's the first instance. Second instance is nor merge. Third instance is
Not transfer controlling
not
interest
transfer the
without
controlling
prior.
interest.
Yes.
That's
And
the third instance.
Yes.
Okay, and all of this require the prior approval of Congress.
Correct.
Yes,
Okay,
my
so
question, Mr. Chair,
So that
is,
has been cited. Question,
so
was it done?
my question is,
Mr.
was
Chairman,
the
hold the
prior
question.
approval?
Would you want to answer that, Attorney Rolex?
yes, Mr. Chairman.
Was it,
It's
was
a
there
yes
a
or
prior
no, it's a
approval?
yes or no question,
We have not
Mr. Chair.
sold the franchise.
I'm sorry?
It's a yes or no question if you
No,
got the
there is-
May I
prior
ask the lady to
approval.
repeat the question?
No, no, the attorney. The question was there, did you seek prior approval before you did all of this?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
there are three instances here.
that's right.
So,
We have not sold
sige,
the franchise.
Mr. Chair,
No,
para
no, no,
lang.
no, that's it told.
That's the first instance, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair,
Wait. Attorney Rolex. Baruhin ho natin. Meron hong tatlong instances. Each are independent of each other. Question. There was a change in controlling interest, which also requires you to seek the approval of Congress. for
Prior
Ayaw.
to the change.
Did you do it? Yes or no?
Mr. Chairman,
No,
Mr. Chair, can I ask?
Mr. Chair,
Sandali.
yes or no lang po.
Attorney Totino, binigay niyo ka Attorney Supreme Court, kukunin niyo ulit. Hindi niyo nga masagot kanina eh.
I can answer that, Mr. Chair.
okay, I give
Yes
way
or
to my
no?
colleague, Mr.
By
Chairman.
yes or no, attorney, ah?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
There was no
Mr. Chair.
there is no transfer of controlling
order,
interest,
Mr.
Mr. Chair.
Kasi
Mr. Chair,
confused na ako eh. Hindi ko alam kung sino ang lead counsel sa kanilang dalawa. Para alam natin kung sino talaga ang
senior,
dapat
Mr. Chair.
sumagot.
he's the senior lawyer.
Okay.
Oh,
And there's a junior lawyer.
I give way to my colleague.
Okay.
Point of
Wait.
information.
Okay. The Honorable Dan Fernandez.
I think the question right now is whether
There was a prior
there
approval.
was a prior approval.
Yes.
Siguro kung ayaw po nilang sagutin, alam naman po natin sa Kongreso if they gotten a
Okay.
prior approval. We
Oh.
can ask the committee on
yeah.
COMSEC for us to be clarified on this matter. Dahil basically, alam po natin kung nag-secure po sila ng tinatawag nilang specific mode of reporting. Kasi basically, iba tong reporting na dapat nilang gawin.
Salamat, Congressman Dan. Binibigyan po natin ang chance sila dahil ang question ho na rinaise ni Congress is sa dalawa. Okay, Attorney Tolentino, ipinasa kay Attorney Rolex, yung pinapasa ulit kay Attorney Tolentino.
Okay.
Okay?
The provision under the law, Mr. Chair, Section 10 of the franchise says, nor shall transfer the controlling interest of the grantee. In this case, Mr. Chair, there was no transfer of the controlling interest because the owner is still the executive pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ.
The Honorable needs to grant it.
Mr. Chair, didn't he explain earlier that it was Pastor Kibuloy who had the controlling interest. Then there was a change in 2022.
It was by succession, Mr. Chair, because Pastor Kibolo technically retires. He's already 73 years old.
And I'm not asking about his
you don't
retiring,
need-
Mr. Chair. It's the transfer of the controlling interest.
Alam po ba kayo hindi? Yun lang sa tatanong ni Kong Migs eh.
Mr. Chair, kung hindi
paano
na lang
ba
nila
kayo hindi?
sasagutin, si Comsec na lang po
Yes,
dapat.
the COMSEC will answer,
Hindi.
Mr. Chair.
Per our records, Comsec, since hindi ho masagot nung ni Atty. Tolentino, hindi ho masagot ng lead. Atty. Rolex,
No, you
bibigyan
can answer,
kita ng
Mr.
last
Chairman.
chance.
We have submitted our annual reports to Congress and
Okay.
it's contained there.
Did you
Chair.
ask for prior approval?
Prior approval,
No,
Mr.
no,
Chairman,
it
it's
is a-
information.
Mr. Chair,
Please read the second sentence, Mr. Chairman, after that.
Mr.
Second
Chair,
sentence says,
Mr. Chair.
Attorney.
Congress shall be informed.
So ano pong sagot nyo? Yes, nagpaalam kayo.
We inform Congress.
But did you ask permission?
No, we did not. We inform.
Mr. Chairman,
That's
point of
clear.
clarification.
Thank you very much. Okay, inform Congress.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As far as the committee secretariat record is concerned, there was no they did not seek for a prior approval of any transfer of their franchise.
Thank you very
Mi-
much.
Mr. Chair,
The law
it's our position that what we're talking here is not controlling interest, unless we have a definition of what controlling interest is. By long line of cases, controlling interest is more than 50%.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Nograles still has the
Thank you,
floor.
Mr. Chair.
Silence is requested.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, may I remind this committee that I think we heard that Attorney Mark Tolentino said that Pastor Kibuloy had controlling interest and was transferred in 2022 to Brother Marlon Acobo. And again, if we look at Section 10, on the first sentence, it still needs the prior approval. Yung sinasabi po earlier na may information, second sentence, hindi pa po tayo nasa second sentence, nasa first sentence pa lang ako, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Floor, the Honorable
Yes.
Nograles.
So we've
Silence
established
requested.
that
Patapusin po
wala
natin.
pong prior approval, Mr.
Wala.
Chair.
Sinabi na.
Okay. So the next sentence naman sa Section 10
can I
is...
make any comment, Mr.
No,
Chair?
you're not allowed. Please
Mr. Chair.
make the. Again.
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr.
Chair,
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, may I remind Attorney Tolentino, nakita mo ba kami, tahimik kami nakikinig dito? Di po ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Makinig ka rin muna bago ka mag-raise ng hand.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much, the Honorable Acop. The Honorable Nograles.
So now let's go to the second sentence in which Attorney Suplico was saying that you informed. Did you inform of this change? Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Nagsasalta na po kayo.
I'd like to explain, Mr. Chair. The kingdom of Jesus Christ is not just an ordinary
No,
corporation.
no. Can you please, alam po ninyo, can you just please explain muna, yes or no, then explain your position?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
What? Yes, what? To what?
That there is no prior approval.
Yes,
But
my
we
next
informed
question, Mr. Chair, tapos na po
What's your
tayo
question?
doon.
No,
My question
that's a
was,
new question.
the second sentence naman that they should report a change also in controlling interest. It's in the second sentence of Section 10.
Okay, the Honorable, Mr. Attorney Tolentino, yeah, nagsasalta na po kayo.
Mr. Chair,
Tatanong, nag-report po kayo.
Yes or no lang po, Mr. Chair.
the good congresswoman says, Mr. Chair, about controlling interests. That's why it may be allowed to explain to the honorable committee, Mr. Chair, what is the controlling interest in relation to corporation sole? Because it is different to say controlling interest with respect to an ordinary corporation compared to a corporation sole, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So, can you just reply first, yes or no to the question? First, tapos saka ho niya kayo magpaliwanag kung anong kaibahan ng dalawang yan. The question raised by the Honorable Nograles, did you report
Yes,
the
Mr. Chair.
change? To whom?
We do it
May we ask
according
the
to
COMSEC if there's a report,
Comsec, did they report it?
any change in the controlling interest?
Did they, is there any change in the controlling interest?
Mr. Chair, if we could ask COMSEC kung meron.
Yes.
So as far as the records of the committee secretariat is concerned, there was no reporting as to the change of ownership.
And might I just remind again, narinig po naman natin lahat sa committee, di ba? Sinabi naman po ni Attorney Mark na Pastor did have the control over the assets na pinasat. Wala silang prior approval, which is a violation of the first section of first sentence of Section 10, and wala ring report. So it's a violation of the second sentence also of Section 10. Correct, Mr. Chair?
Yeah, as for the Comsec, yes, you're correct.
Okay.
Okay.
With all due respect, Mr. Chair, can I explain my answer, Mr.
But-
Chair?
You know, can we go with the line
May
of questioning?
I finish my question?
Please explain.
Mr.
Later.
Chair, point of order.
Yes.
Can we please remind the good Attorney Mark? I think the chair has been very lenient, and I think Congressman Acop has called your attention many times. Your light has been on throughout the whole hearing. So please give enough courtesy to the congressman
Yes, Mr. Chair.
to give their statements, and huwag kayong mag-alala. bibigyan namin kayo ng pagkakataon. But please, wag kayong
Ala.
babatin habang nagsasalita at habang kinikilala yung oras ng isang kinatawan. May panahon din naman kayo at nakita nyo naman. Siguro kung bibilangin natin sa ratio at proportion, mas marami pa kayong oras
Sabi.
sa pagsasalita kaysa sa mga congressman. Kaya huwag kayong mag-alala. Magsasalita din kayo. Pagsalitain nyo na muna yung mga congressman.
Yes. Can we, let's apologize, Mr. Chair.
The Honorable Nogales has the floor. Please do not cut in or you just have to answer the question and we'll leave it at that for the moment. If you would like to explain later, then we will give you the chance before we end this hearing. The Honorable Nogales has the floor. Silence is requested.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I have, if I can show to the committee, a pie chart of the structure of
Do you have
Um,
it, video?
Suarasug.
Here.
Yes,
Okay, so please, there's a video.
yeah. Yan po ba yun? Twenty 2023, please. The next. Yes. So it's. So here in this pie chart, you can see in the GIS of Suarasug that Executive Kingdom of Jesus has about 53%, which shows the majority of or control of Suarasug, correct? Mr. Chair.
Address to Attorney Tolentino. Ayan. Nagsasalita na po kayo. Do you confirm this?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
So, dahil kanina gusto mag-explain kasi ng controlling interest on corporation sole. Sige. Now I'm showing you, 'di ba? Even if you're going to say na yung iba ang corporation sole, this controlling interest of executive KOG is obviously has the controlling interest at nagkaroon ng switching internally. And did you still get the prior approval and did you report it to Congress, Mr. Chair?
Attorney Tolentino.
Mr. Chair,
Yes or no?
there is no provision in the franchise that requires reporting for the change of leadership in the Kingdom of Jesus Christ.
Mr. Chair,
Ah,
controlling interest po
alam
tayo,
nyo,
diba?
Attorney, hindi na natin pinag-usapan ng liderato. Tinanong natin pie chart. Do you confirm this? Na nagkaroon ho ng pagbabago?
With respect to the leadership, Mr. Chair, but not the controlling interest.
I think the committee
Yes.
has heard that
Yes.
we were talking about controlling interest and it was established earlier and the good attorney has
Confirm naman yan.
confirmed. Okay.
We can sustain that.
Let's not
But-
change words here, huh? Don't put words into our mouths, please. So if you look at the chart, there is this Phoebus Holdings that holds 46%.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Hindi ko makita.
Malayo kasi. Ayan, yung naka-orange po.
Pwede pa.
40. Yan. Okay. So this Phoebus Holdings, are you aware of who owns Phoebus Holdings, Mr. Chair?
Phoebus Holding,
Attorney Tolentino.
Mr. Chair, is an investor of Suarasug Corporation, Mr. Chair. I have no personal knowledge, Mr. Chair. All I
You
know
have no
is
personal knowledge?
it is an investor of Suarasug Corporation, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Sige. Because he has no knowledge, even if he's the legal counsel. Can we share the next slide, please, that shows the structure of Phoebus from the GIS, which is a public document. So 2022, 2023, can you see the percentage of the Executive Pastor Kingdom of Jesus ownership on Phoebus? It says 97.16%. Correct.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So let me read to you the Constitution naman po. On Article 16, Section 11 of the 1987 Constitution, which says, Congress shall regulate or prohibit monopolies in commercial mass media when public interest so requires. No combinations in restraint of trade or unfair competition shall be allowed. So let's go back to the pie chart, please, of the executive of Suarasug on 2022.
2022.
So makikita po natin, Mr. Chair, that the executive pastor, the Kingdom of Jesus, where in 2022, the executive pastor was still the trustee and the one who has the controlling interest, right? Before the amendment, owns 53.46% of Suarasug, correct?
53.46%. Yes, Mr.
Yes.
Chair.
And Phoebus Holdings
46.22%.
and Executive Pastor Kingdom of Jesus owns 97% of Phoebus Holdings, correct? So essentially, with the two entities under Pastor Kibuloy, he holds 99.68%, basically making it a monopoly, correct?
I cannot answer that, Mr. Chair.
You cannot, Mr. Chair, abogado po ang kausap natin, Mr. Chair.
Kayo po, kanina, marami ko yung siya-site na, ano yun, hindi nyo na alam.
I know, Mr. Chair,
Ano po
but
sagot nyo?
I cannot see
So
that
it's-
slide, Mr. Chair. It's too far.
Okay, let's just go numbers na lang, Mr. Chair. So you said earlier 53.46% ang executive pastor Kingdom of Jesus in 2022 when Pastor Kibuloy was still the executive pastor, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And Phoebus Holdings owns how much, ilang percent, Mr. Chair?
46.22%.
Suarasug, yes. And as we showed earlier, Executive Pastor Kingdom of Jesus owns 97% of Phoebus Holdings, correct?
I have no documents with me, Mr. Chair, with respect to Phoebus, Mr. Chair.
Okay, well, GIS is a public document. That's why I was able to show the pie chart. So the GIS will show that for the information of the good attorney. So
Yes, Mr.
essentially, with the numbers, if you add it, again, I will go essentially, Pastor Kibuloy in 2022 holds 99.68% of the two entities, combining the two entities, correct?
And not, Mr. Chair, because the executive pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ has a separate juridical personality than that of Pastor Apollo Sikibole, Mr. Chair.
Yes, I was saying 2022, which you said earlier, si Pastor Kibuloy ang executive pastor pa nun, right?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And
He's the
sole
leader of the
corporation
executive-
sole siya.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. And Phoebus nga, 97% is owned by the executive pastor, Kingdom of Jesus. Correct? So essentially, 99.68% ang ownership na to. And citing the Constitution again, pagdating sa commercial mass media, bawal po ang mga monopolies or combinations of such because it's for unfair competition. Are you aware of this?
Yes, Mr.
provision,
Chair.
Mr. Chair?
But as what I said, Mr. Chair, the executive pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ
Yes or no lang naman
has a
po.
separate and personality than that of Pastor Kiboloy, Mr. Chair.
Pwede Tolentino, marami pa ako kasi magtatanong nun. Pwede na po muna yes or no bago kayo magpaliwanag kasi hindi nyo natutumbok eh. Pwede bang yes or no muna tayo tsaka kayo magpaliwanag?
Yes, Mr.
Kasi wala akong mangyayari, mas magpaliwanag kayo, hindi namin nakukuha yung sagot eh.
Okay, Mr.
Yes
Chair.
or no?
So
muna.
essentially, Mr. Chair, with this constitutional provision and the numbers mentioned earlier na at bawal din ang monopolies, violative sila not only of kanina, we established Section 10, but the highest law of the land, which is the Constitution. Correct, Mr. Chair?
Attorney, yes,
Yes,
or
Mr.
no?
Chair.
So,
Mr. Chair,
What is your reply?
yes daw.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
Mr. Chair, can I just have a request? Due to the enlightening revelations of Congresswoman Migs, pwede ba natin ibalik na yung ilaw?
Yes.
Meron pa po kasi akong papakita ata.
Okay. Meron pa.
Yes, just a short.
Okay.
Sige,
Proceed.
I'm almost done. Don't worry.
mamaya na yung let there be light.
Unless you want to
By
see.
the way, Mr. Chair, Attorney Migs is my co-host before Pinoy Legal Minds.
Yes.
So,
Okay,
SMNI.
very
And he
good.
was also not giving me time to talk during that time.
For almost 6 months, Mr. Chair.
So it's
And he's doing it the same. And he's doing it again. Okay, so now let's go back to your franchise, diba? You have section 11 now, which states that the grantee shall offer to Filipino citizens at least 30% of its outstanding stock or a higher percentage thereof, that may hereafter be provided by law, etc., etc. So dapat may 30% offer to Filipino citizens, to the public, correct, Mr.
Yes,
Chair?
Mr. Chair.
And we've already established that Suarezug essentially is a monopoly owned na 99.68%. Correct. So malayo to sa 30% na mandato to offer to the public under section 11, Mr. Chair. Correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair, but I have a letter
Yes or
here.
no lang?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So yes, there is a violation.
There's no violation, Mr. Chair.
Kanina tinanong ko yung 30%. Mag-add nga po tayo, 99.
That's why,
Di ba
Mr.
hanggang
Chair.
100 po tayo, Mr. Chair? Tapos 30%. 130%. Hindi, 99.68% nga ang monopolized na nga ng Executive Kingdom. Meron sila under Section 11 na mandato na 30% of their stock should be offered to the public. Has this been complied with?
Yes, Mr. Chair. We have here, Mr. Chair, a letter dated June 30, 2022 to SEC and to the House of Representatives, Mr. Chair, informing the House, Mr. Chair, about 30% share offered to a cooperative, Mr. Chair.
May we have a copy of that?
Yes, Mr.
Yeah.
Chair.
Yan ba
Okay.
yung
It was
ino-offer niyo sa
dated
cooperative?
June 30, 2022, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Can you,
Sige, with math na lang, Mr. Chair. Diba kanina, establish po natin 99.68 nga. So malamang hindi pasok ang 30%. Pero with that argument, sige, let's go to the pie chart with the cooperative na sinabi po. Which cooperative is this, Mr. Chair?
Kooperatiba? Attorney, anong pangalan ng kooperatiba?
the name, ano pa nun? Jesus Christ Workers Members Cooperative, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very
And
much.
show lang yung sa Suarezug. I think second slide, yes. You will see that 0.16% ang Jesus Christ Cooperative. It's not even 1%. And I think 1% is different from 30%. Correct, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, we are waiting for the response of the House, Mr. Chair, of that letter.
So may obligasyon pala. Kayo po yung may obligasyon, Mr. Chair. Kasi sino po yung may obligasyon mag-report sa atin? Bakit po tayo ang magre-report?
We are informing the House, Mr. Chair, about the cooperative that we transferred certain share to the cooperative, Mr. Chair, the Jesus Christ Workers Members Cooperative, Mr. Chair.
Yes, so that is the only cooperative which
Of your annual report.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
What reply are you expecting from the committee or from Congress? You mentioned that you are requiring, that's why you have not complied with, because you are requiring for a response, when this was just part of your annual report.
May I be
You
allowed to speak?
attached it, one of your attachments. Yes, the Honorable,
No, Mr. Chairman, Attorney Suplico. Attorney Suplico.
I'm sorry, yes, Attorney Suplico, of course, who doesn't know you? Elementary nga ako, nababasa na kita.
Mr.
Right.
Chair, we have a letter and we made a study of other franchises with different
provisions. Some of them refer to cooperatives. So we are asking Congress, and in particular the Committee on Initiative Franchises, if this will comply with that particular provision before we go ahead and implement it.
Okay. Mr. Chair. Yes, is this the 2023 report that you sent on the basis of your encouraging public participation?
Mr. Chair, we compared the same provisions which are differently worded in other franchises.
Okay.
So we thought we're going to ask Congress, and in particular this committee, if we can be given a go-ahead.
Mr. Chair, I believe we have a copy of that.
Clear. I'm reading this letter that you claim you submitted. It's entitled Report on the Dispersal of Ownership, which is part of the annual information sheet that you gave. There is no question. You were just stating a position. There was no question, Attorney Suplico. Unless tatlo ho kami nagbabasa nito. There are two
there's no
lawyers.
reply to answer.
And there was no question. You just stated your position of what you were going to do.
Yes.
But or what you were planning to do. But like the telecast where you claimed that you were asking a question but there's nobody answering. There's no chance to answer. Ito ganda rin ho yan kasi wala naman ho kayo tinatanong eh. Wala namang question mark, wala namang kayo may we respectfully request for your opinion. Wala pong ganyan. You just stated the position. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Klaro po tayo ha. Thank you
Yes.
po. Thank you, the Honorable Nagrales. Please proceed.
Okay. So I think that says 2023 report. So report nga, diba? And correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Chair, since you have a copy and I'm sure they know because they reported it. They were basing, and Attorney Tolentino said that they were basing it from other franchises. That's why naglagay sila ng cooperative. Correct.
Yes, Mr. Chair. That's based on our body of our
Yes.
letter.
Okay, and does the franchise, this RA 11422, have any wording of this establishments of cooperatives and other methods of encouraging public participation? Mr. Chair.
None, Mr. Chair. None, Mr. Chair.
Okay,
None.
so violation na rin po yun kasi naglagay sila ng cooperatives na hindi naman nasa prangkisa po nila, Mr. Chair. So earlier, there's a violation of the Constitution that we've established, monopolized. Hindi pa nila na gawa yung 30% public offering, which is a violation of their Section 11. And even if you will say may cooperative dyan, it's only 0.16%, which is far from the 30% mandate under Section 11 in the franchise, which is a violation also, Mr. Chair, correct?
Anything else, Honorable Nagrales?
Yes, I would just like to add also, even if you will state your equality clause with when I read your report, the 2023, you still need the prior approval of Congress. Kung sa-cite niyo rin yung different franchise na pwedeng kooperatiba. But you also stated there in your 2023 report, you already completed the implementation of program of the dispersal of ownership. Meaning you still did not acquire the prior approval of Congress, correct? Mr. Chair.
Is that a question addressed to
Whoever. the
Attorney Tolentino
counsel is.
Senior
or
lawyer.
Attorney
Senior.
Rolex?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, if I may. With due respect to the lady, we did not acquire because we feel that what was transferred is not controlling interest.
I'm sorry, we're talking about the report already on your cooperative. We're done with the controlling interest, I believe so.
We're talking of the cooperatives po.
The
Okay.
2023 report that you sent with the basis of why you're including cooperatives and on your dispersal on section 11 to comply with section 11. May section 14 din po kasi sa prangkisa nyo that if you're going to say, no, na because your basis was may mga ibang mga prangkisa na pinapayagan ng cooperatives at kung ilalagay mo naman na may equality clause kayo sa section 14, kailangan niyo pa rin ng prior approval from Congress. Eh naglagay nga kayo ng kooperatiba na hindi nakalagay sa prangkisa nyo, hindi pa rin kayo nag-acquire ng prior approval. Tama po ba, Mr. Chair? Yes or no?
May I be allowed to explain?
No.
No, Mr. Chairman. Because we wanted to know, Mr. Chairman, this is the position of my client that we wanted to know whether we can also avail of cooperatives. That provision is not found in our franchise, but it's found in the franchises of other entities.
Yes,
Oh.
and Mr. Chair, I think we established they did not ask us any question anyway. They just reported.
Correct.
And might I direct you to that? If you read your report, you already said you already completed the implementation of the program of the dispersal of ownership. Na naglagay kayo ng cooperative to. Na wala na nga dun sa prangkisa nyo, nag-implement na kayo, no? Kayo na wala rin approval ng Congress. Correct? Mr. Chair.
Attorney, yes, obviously, Attorney Rolex, ano po masabi
Mr. Chairman,
niyo?
reading the equality clause on section 14,
Yun nga po, kaya nga inunahan ko na po kasi alam ko ang lalagay na niya yung section 14. Kailangan pa rin po ng prior approval.
that is why we wrote a letter to this House,
That
Mr.
was,
Chairman.
Mr. Chair, what, Mr.
You know,
Chair,
the-
may
Well,
I
no,
ask-
Attorney, yes, you did. You wrote us you were there was a report. You were stating you were informing us